just next door from Toronto Stadium, which is a host site to this year's FIFA World Cup. We welcome you into the Coca-Cola Coliseum, home of the AHL's Toronto Marlies, for game number 3 of this Calder Cup Final, with the Marlies up 2-0 over the Chicago Wolves. Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Jaric Rubel. So glad to have you back with me on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel, as I am back in my usual setup after a week of chaos by me due to severe weather. But in this Calder Cup Final, through 2 games, it's been the top line for the Toronto Marlies of Vinni Lettieri, Bo Grew, and Logan Shaw that have dominated this Chicago club, as Vinni Lettieri has 6 points, 2 goals, and 4 assists through the opening pair of games in this Calder Cup Final. He set up Logan Shaw for the overtime game winner on a Sunday afternoon, and it was Shaw's second goal of the game and Lettieri's 3rd assist of that game to win. Also with the 3-assist afternoon over the weekend was Marley defenseman William Villeneuve, as he added assists 15, 16, and 17 to his postseason total, as those 17 apples lead the American Hockey League in this postseason. And that was the 6th straight road win for these baby Leafs, as it was the 8th come-from-behind playoff win this spring as well for Toronto, and 2nd of this Calder Cup Final. The Marlies trailed 2-1 in each of the first 2 games in the first period, before tying each up at 2, and then never trailing again at any point of either game. On the Chicago side, the Wolves have struggled back on Mannheim Road at the Allstate Arena. They've struggled to pick up wins, as they've now lost 3 in a row on home ice and are 4-6 overall there this postseason. But on the road, however, this group of Wolves has been magnificent. 6-2 on the road against really good teams in Texas, Grand Rapids, and Colorado. And now with the next 3 games here in Toronto, tonight could prove to be a turning point for the Wolves if they waltz out of here with a victory. They went into Colorado in the Western Conference Final and won games 6 and 7 with their backs against the wall and a backup goaltender in goal, as Chicago has shown that the hole has never been too big for them to crawl out of this spring. And in game 2 for the Wolves, it was the Juuso Valimaki show, as in the 3rd period, the Wolves defenseman had 2 game-tying goals. One made it 3-3, and the other tied it up at 4 with 16.7 seconds remaining, which was the latest tying goal in the Calder Cup Final since the Wolves also did it, courtesy Steve Maltai, with 2.7 seconds remaining in regulation. And both of Valimaki's goals came from down near the goal line, one from each side of the goal, as he was also part of the Wolves' power play to go up 2-1 in the first period, as he skated from the goal to the goal from the blue line, creating chaos and opening a passing lane to Noah Philp, who scored his 6th of the postseason. These aren't technically must-win games per se, but they are also technically must-win games if you're a part of the Chicago Wolves, as they're down 0-2 in this series against the Toronto Marlies, who are looking to take a 3-0 stranglehold on this Calder Cup Final. The series has shifted north of the border to Toronto, and Game 3 is coming up on the other side. You're listening to the 2026 Calder Cup Final with Jaric Rubel, and it's live right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Back here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto, where Game 3 of this Calder Cup Final set to begin between the Chicago Wolves and Toronto Marlies. As in goal for the Chicago Wolves tonight, Caden Primo gets to not an 8-7 record this postseason for him, a 2.74 goals against average, and a save percentage of .914. He'll be opposed by Artur Aktiama for the Toronto Marlies. As in goal this postseason, he has a 13-6 record himself with a 2.21 goals against average and a .924 save percentage. Felix Ungersorum returns to the lineup tonight for Chicago. He's on the second line with Noah Philp and Neuchev, as the top line remains the same: Suzuki, Robida, and Nadeau. Third line, Brindamore, Gunler, and Slavin. Fourth line, Pavlichev, Ryabkin, and Vierling. As the puck's now down at center ice, we are underway in game number 3, as the Marlies control off the draw and played it down to our right into the Chicago zone. As the Marlies attack left to right in this first period, the Wolves going right to left. And now the Wolves chip a puck out to center, where Slavin plays it on the near wing for Charles Alexis Legault, who scored the opening goal in Game 2. He's paired on defense tonight with Ronan Seeley, Niestrom's with Foot, and Valimaki with Fensori. Now down to our left in the Marlies defensive zone, a puck's played ahead, and it'll be flipped ahead now by Pare, as it'll bounce now over the Wolf blue line. Getting back on it is Ronan Seeley, as he pivots now in the near corner and takes a look behind his net to our right. Played it up ahead now past the benches. It'll be carried in by Legault at the red line. He'll shoot it on into the left side of the Marlies zone. Behind the goal, it'll roll for Thrun to play it ahead for Toronto. On the left wing, it goes for Bogru, as this dangerous top line's on the ice in their first shift for the Marlies here tonight. As now Matt Benning, the defenseman on the right side, played it down beneath the Wolf goal down to our right. Shaw dig it out of the far corner, played it to the left point. Thrun tried to play it down low. It ricocheted off a leg back to him, and now a penalty looks to be coming up, or a hand pass rather, is going to be called. And with that, we get the game's first stoppage, 1:07 into the game tonight. So let's take a look at these Marlies lines now. Is on the top line, per usual, it's Shaw centering Bogru and Vinni Lettieri. Then the second line, Hames, Torberg, and Cowan. Third line, Pare with Vallis and Nylander. And then the fourth line, Johnstone with Pizzetta and Sim. Defense pairings, Thrun with Benning, Murmis with Villanov, and then Rafai with Danford. So face-off in front of the Wolves bench, won by Chicago, wearing their road white uniforms in this game, as they just shot a puck down the ice, missing everybody for an icing. But the Wolves here in their road white uniforms with their black pants and their white helmets, as they got maroon on the bottom part of their sleeves, yellow just on the top of that maroon part. The numbers on their sleeves and backs are yellow with maroon trim, and overall the lettering on their back is just maroon, no trim. Now face off to the right of Caden Primo, the Wolf goaltender. It's won by Chicago and flipped out the center, where a bouncing puck near the Marlies line came to Chicago, as Ungersorum on the left side tried to play it to the net. It got deflected off a stick, and Murmis now for Toronto will play it up ahead on the far wall. It gets out as far as the red line, where a bouncing puck will try to be settled down by Nystrom. It'll be picked up by Neuchev now. Left wing over the Marley line, dropped a pass, but it went off a skate and trickles now towards Aktiamov, who takes a whistle with 18:20 to go here in period number 1. So the Wolves here with an offensive zone draw coming up, as Caden Primo, their goaltender, he began this season here in Toronto with the Maple Leafs and Marlies, became a waiver claim back here in Chicago on November 28th. But he had a rough night in his first game back from injury against this Toronto Marlies team, allowing 5 goals in that Game 2 loss, and a lot of them to that right pad side, as we'll see if the Marlies target that side tonight, as they win a defensive zone draw on the near side, and a puck played up past the penalty boxes won't connect with Torberg, but it won't go for an icing, as behind the Wolf net, Fensori played it up the far side. Sticks get tied up on that far wing now. Robida trying to dig it out for Chicago underneath the left skate here of Quillian. Into the lineup now for the Marlies in his first game of the final, as now a puck comes around to the near side. It'll be picked up by the Marlies, still in the Chicago offensive zone, defensive zone I should say, but now on the near side, a puck got turned over to Chicago, and they do nothing with it, as Benning took it back for Toronto. Played it left wing, onside is Cowan. He's going to take a shot from the left circle, stick the side by Primo. Rebound goes in behind. Suzuki will play it left side for Valimaki, who drops it now off once more for Fensori. So Fensori here was on the ice for the penalty shot the penalty that led to the Alex Nylander penalty shot in game number 2. Is now he's iced it here as well. And he was also on the ice for the 4th goal of the game, which was scored by Bo Grew for Toronto as well. So it was a rough game number 2 for Fensore on the back end for Chicago. But here tonight, we have a face-off here coming back up down to our right now following that icing by Chicago. So an ozone draw here for Toronto. We'll see if the top line's back on the ice with Shaw, Grew, and Lettieri as they are. And they win a draw as it's played to the near circle, and a shot by Lettieri got blocked immediately and went out of play. So now it's 17-19 to go in this first period. We'll have another face-off in the ozone for Toronto, as Logan Shaw scored his 3rd game-winning goal of the postseason, and with his goal scored at 3:46 of overtime on Sunday, became his 2nd goal of the game and 6th multi-point game here in these playoffs. So he's out here for this draw against Skylar Brindamore, Rod Brindamore's son, as Rod Brindamore just winning a Stanley Cup on Sunday with the Carolina Hurricanes as a head coach, as now his son's able to pull a draw up ahead for the Wolves. And out the center comes Slavin over the logo right side. A return pass was given towards Seeley in the slot. Couldn't connect, taken away by Villeneuve. Played back to center by Toronto, but chipped right back in by Philp, as trying to get their Slavin for Chicago. Pass, though, was taken away by Shaw, nudged ahead Lettieri on the right side. Villeneuve left it for Grew, right wing over the Chicago zone. Tried a shot far post. He missed the net. Ricocheted back up the far side and down into the Marlies zone. We're getting back after it. It'll be the goaltender, Akhtiamov, playing it away from Mermis as back in right side's Lettieri. Nudging one ahead. Couldn't connect with a Marley down low as the puck ricochets back out to neutral ice once more. And now having to reset in their own zone are Toronto with 3.5 played in period number 1. Jaric Rubel, glad you're with me on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel, as the Wolves can't get out of their own zone. Here's a quick shot by Danford, got blocked back at the point at Chems, and it's poked away, and now here come the Wolves. Slavin trying to get free, could not cut free, but he'll drop it left side. Here's Vierling, put it in the slot. A shot was fanned on by the Wolves as a puck was put on net there by Pavlichev, but it never made it towards Akhtiamov as it was cleared to the near side. Pavlichev back with it though, far wing, dropped it to the point. Nystrom, a spinorama move, left circle, dropped it down low. Vierling on top of the paint, couldn't connect. Taken away by Sim now for the Marlies, who lofts one over the logo at center, rolling now like a fish out of water into the Wolves zone to the near side. Be picked up by Nystrom and carried back to center. Played over the red line to the left wing, where it'll be chipped in now by Unger Sorum, as on that near left side. The Marlies get back on it and play it to center, as the Wolves try and chip it back. As they get possession back, Unger Sorum will steer it right back in, and around it goes the Marlies goal to the far side. A centering attempt from Valimaki didn't connect with Unger Sorum, but now on the near left circle, he tries to get that puck, but it's poked away off his stick by Nylander, and now the Marlies the other way, attacking down to our right. Puck beneath the Wolves goal line as it comes up the near side, as it came now to Unger Sorum, as it's rink wide far right side for Valimaki. Onside over the Marley line, nudged it this way, Fensore. Down low, Unger Sorum fanned on a one-timer, came beneath the goal line, came to the slot out of centering attempt. Valimaki, a shot missed to the stick side now of Akhtiamov. Left point, Philp tried to sling it across for Fensore. He missed it. He's caught down low now, but a good recovery against Nylander to not allow him to get that puck as he plays it back into the Marley zone. And the Wolves change with 5 minutes played in this first period, still scoreless from the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto. Again, Jaric Rubel with you on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Also have a pair of World Cup games going on today, as currently Norway's taking on Iraq, and then also later tonight, Argentina versus Algeria. As now from behind the Marley net, here's a centering attempt with a shot by Seeley, shut down there by Akhtiamov. Cleaned up in the slot, thrown to the far corner. As the Marlies avoid disaster here, the Wolves with a good scoring chance. And the Wolves have scored first in each of the 2 games in this series, and they came close to making it 3 straight games there. Now they're trying to reset in neutral ice. Puck will be steered in by Robidas to the far right corner, down to our left. Played up the wall by the Marlies, not out. Came back behind the goal line. Nadeau put it up the near wall. Didn't quite get it to the point, though, so Bo Grew's able to cut that off, and he turned it over right in the slot. Bad turnover, and a shot by Gunler, sticked aside. Akhtiamov, rebound to the near wall. Back on it, Shaw, he flips it to center for the Marlies. It bounced over Lettieri's blade, but it came offside, as skating into the zone too fast was Bo Grew. Otherwise, Vinni Lettieri would have had a clean chance to pick that puck up. But 13:53 to go in a first period that's had a lot of pep in each of these teams' step. No goals yet, though, thus far in Game 3 of the AHL's Calder Cup Final. It's live right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Back here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum here in Toronto, home of the Toronto Marlies, up 2-0 in this Calder Cup Final, but scoreless in game number 3, as the Wolves here on the road looking to get back in this series, as game 4 will be in this building on Thursday night, same start time, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, as a face-off here in neutral ice was won by the Wolves, but Fensori got his pocket picked and Toronto takes it away. Pizzetta near wing, centered for Johnstone, but he couldn't connect with them. It's now back on the far wall is Johnstone. He tried a shot from the top of the left circle, never made it to the goal, came to the near left corner, where it'll be flipped out the center now by Chicago, and controlled back in the Toronto zone by Marshall Rafai. Rafai here wearing number 83 for the Marlies, as they got the maple leaf on their chest with the crown instead of the Toronto maple leaf logo on their sweater. Instead of the wording, it's just a little crown there on front. As now behind the Wolf net, they turn it right back over to Chicago, as it'll be played the other way by Brindamore. He heads to change. Puck never went far enough for icing, so now the Marlies are back on it, as Mermis on his far side played it up the center, had a little bit of trouble, but in front of the benches, a touch pass finds Logan Sim over the Wolf line. Got taken down. Is there a penalty coming up? Not sure. As behind the goal, Legault's going to touch it now, and it looks like there will be, as the Wolves touch up and the whistle blows. So at 12:55 to go in the first period, Noah Phillips going to sit for the Chicago Wolves, and the Marlies are going to get the game's first power play. So Philp here took down Sim as he entered the zone inside the Wolf blue line, immediately went palms up as he thought he was diving. But there is, in fact, no embellishment call. The Marlies to the power play. And on the power play this postseason, they're 21.6%, 16 for 74. And overall, in their last 5 games, they're 3 for 13 on home ice, 9 for 36. They win a draw here to the left of Primo, won by the Marlies. To cross it goes for a one-timer set up by Villanov, on goal by Torberg. But Primo's able to come up with that stop just 3 seconds in here to this Marley power play. The Wolves PK this postseason, 82.1%, as they now try and prevent Toronto from striking first for the first time in this series, but the team that scored first has lost each of the first 2 games, being the Chicago Wolves, so maybe playing from behind could be a different pace for them, but the Marlies control here off a draw to the right of Primo. Cowan near right boards, to the point for Villanov, tried to play it across to the far side. Torberg had the puck deflect across, and now he can't keep it in, or no, that's Lettieri, I should say. Lettieri played it near wing now for Cowan back over the Wolves line. Cowan tied up by a Chicago stick as the puck comes back to center, and Villanov has to get back on it in his own zone with 30 seconds gone by on this Marley power play. Drop pass for Lettieri at the Marley blue line as he skates to center. Played it left wing over the Wolf line for Cohen. A nice backhand sauce back on the near wing for Shaw. Logan Shaw creeping into the right wing circle. Played it up high for Villanov. Villanov in the final 75 of the power play. Right wing now for Cowan. Cowan down low. Trade spots with Bo Grew. Grew right circle. Had a pass deflect to the near corner. Cowan now pressured by the Wolves. And it looks like another stoppage here as the whistle goes. And I'm not quite sure what this whistle was for. But now it looks like Easton Cowan's being directed off the ice here, as I'm not sure if it's a penalty coming up or if the puck was played with a high stick. But a minute 8 to go here at the moment on this Marley power play, as it looks like it was just played with a high stick, so the power play will continue here for Toronto with 12:03 to go in period number 1. So face-off, though, will come out to center ice as the Wolves are able to pull it back. Fensori dropped it off, and Cal Foote will send it down the ice as it'll go back to our left behind the Marley cage with the minute to go on this Toronto power play. Danford played it back up to center, scored his first pro goal in game number 1, the first goal of the game for Toronto. Back behind the Wolf goal now, it'll be battled for by Foote and Torberg. Torberg got up by the stick of Foote. The puck came free on the far side. Ryabkin tries to clear. He muscled it ahead. Could be an odd man rush if the Wolves hurry. Dragging a skate to stay onside, Skylar Brindamore. Torberg trying to get back on defense, lifted the stick there of Brindamore, and now the Marlies get it back and throw it out to center. Back on the right wing is Torberg. His pass, though, picked off by the Wolves and thrown back to center, as now we're under 25 to go on this Marley power play. On the right wing, it'll be Quillian shooting it in. Around the Wolf goal, it'll go. Stopped in the trapezoid, though, by Primo. Thrown back up the near side. Out to center, it'll go. And now quickly back up on it is Aktiam off the goaltender on the near wing. Fed it to Nylander at the Wolf line. Tried to put it in the slot. Got knocked away by Chicago. And they'll clear again. That'll do it for this Marley man advantage. So back to full and equal strength as Noah Phillips out of the box. Right in front of him comes Johnstone with the puck, and Philp poked it away. Back in the Marlies zone it went, but Danford put it up the near wing. Pizzetta shot it off the boards. Pare at the Wolf lines looking for it. Knocked away off his blade, came back to the Marley blue line to our left. Pass up ahead by Thrun, went off a skate. Wolves get it back near side in front of the penalty boxes. Philp put it down to our left in the near corner. Thrun on it first for the Marlies, took a bit of a check there by Slavin. Puck came up to the left point, thrown across by the Wolves, but it gets out to center thanks to Johnstone. He's free on the left wing, comes across over the Wolf line. He's going to be blown dead, though, for an offside with 10:23 to go in the first period. So coming up on USM tomorrow, we just got one World Cup game for you. It'll be with Seth Eves with JT as the producer. England takes on Croatia as it'll get underway at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 Central. You can find that game right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. We'll have our World Cup coverage throughout the entire month of the tournament as we look forward to all the games that our plethora of voices bring you guys. So face off in front of the Wolf bench at center with under 10.5 to go in the first, won cleanly by the Wolves back into their own zone. We're behind their own net. Valimaki was being hustled around by a Marley. Puck thrown up the wall in front of the penalty boxes where it's thrown by Danford back into the Wolves zone. Valimaki will try again, put it up the near wing. This time it connects with Pavlichev. He'll float one towards the goal that Akhtiamov picks off with his glove. And the Marley goaltender will hold it for another whistle with 10:02 to go here in period number 1. So 4 teams in AHL history have won the Calder Cup after falling behind 0-2 in the finals, as the Hershey Bears did it in 2023 and 2010, the Springfield Indians in 1991, and the Nova Scotia Voyagers all the way back in 1972. But only the 2010 Hershey Bears were a team that came back after losing their first 2 on home ice like the Wolves did over the weekend, as road teams here with that overtime win by Toronto in Game 2 are now 13-4 on the road in extra time in this postseason. So it's been a Calder Cup playoff dominated by the road team, and we'll see if the Wolves can continue on with this 6-2 record on the road they have, improve to 7-2, maybe beyond, and get right back in this series. Ryan Suzuki to take this draw off a pair of assists in game number 2, wins it clean on the near side. Nystrom collects as he'll skate down to the left wing corner with it. Battling for it now with the Marlies is Lettieri and Thrun as they try and knock this puck free. They did, but it came to Robidas near circle. Tried a shot. Save made in the butterfly position by Akhtiamov. Rebound in that near corner. Dug back up by Robidas, trying to squirt it up the boards. It's poked back along, but Thrun will backhand it out. As now at the Wolf blue line, Cal Foot tried to sand wedge one across, but it got picked off Lettieri while falling. His stick's now tied up with Robidas, but the Wolves get it in front of the penalty boxes. No penalty, we play on. The Doe played it at the logo, but having trouble with it was Fensori, so the Marlies get it back. They make a change as at the logo, Cowan will leave it. It'll be dumped in by Thrun. Thrun will have it bounce around to the near right wing corner down to our right. Torberg on his backhand can't grab it. The Wolves knock it down low behind their net for Foot to play it. Cal Foot, son of Adam Foot, got it to the logo at center where Skylar Brindamore, son of Rod, played it up the far wall into the Marley zone. Knocked it to the near left side. Picked up Nadeau. Dropped in the slot. Seeley. His shot gloved there by Akhtiamov as he came well on top of the blue paint to challenge that shot by the Wolf defenseman and came up with a big glove save. We're halfway through period number 1 in Toronto. Still looking for the game's first goal in Game 3 of this Calder Cup Final. Live right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Welcome back to Toronto. Scoreless hockey. 11 minutes into this first period between the Wolves and Marlies. Jaric Rubel, glad you're with me here for the Calder Cup Final on USM as the Marlies lead this series 2-0. But Wolves defenseman Juuso Valimaki scored twice in the third period to tie the game in Game 2, but it was not enough. As after that loss, Valimaki said, "We're down 2 in the series, but we trust our process. And quite honestly, we've been a better road team than we've been at home. We don't really need to look at the series as anything more than just one game at a time and take it from there." As a face-off here in front of the Wolves bench is played ahead by the Marlies as we continue on here with 8:46 to go in the first period. As down to our right at the near circle, Cowan tried to muscle one that went through the blue paint to the far corner of the Wolves zone. And on it, Skylar Brindamore can't get it out, went off the stick of Torberg. Now bouncing puck came up near the Wolf blue line, and it'll be cleared to center. Slavin, the captain, played it on the near side for Legault. On his backhand, he'll send it behind the Marley goal and around for Murmis. The Illinoisan played it up now to center, where Cowan will circle back in his own zone as the Marlies want to change. So 8:15 now to go in this first period. As Cowan played it up on the far side, turned it over. Neuchef fresh on, dropped it off, sent it to the near side. Valimaki, his shot save made in a stand-up style by Akhtiamov. Rebound to the near circle, picked up Nylander. Fed out now to center. It'll be picked up on that wing and picked up behind the Wolf goal by Fensori. As now Dominic Fensori up to center yet again. With a lot of ice time already in this first period. Got it to Felix Ungersorm on the right wing corner. Rung it around the Marley net to the left wing side. Valimaki's with it. Dropped it off in that corner. The Wolves Philp trying to play it ahead as the Wolves out shooting the Marlies here 10-3 in the first 12.5 minutes of this first period. Now the Marlies Cowan picked one off in his own zone and played it ahead to center. As Fensori's back on it now in the Wolves zone as he'll park behind his own net as both teams make changes here now with 7.5 remaining in period 1. So Fensori, a 90th overall pick from Carolina back in 2019, went to college at Boston University, as now he left it behind his own net for Nystrom to shoot up the far wing, but the Marlies end up picking it back on their near side as it's thrown up the boards by Danford. Danford, though, can't quite get it out on the near side. It's thrown back by Pavlichev as the Wolves try and keep the pressure on in the Marley zone, but it'll be Johnstone playing it back to the logo at center. Sim at that logo, shot it into the right wing corner of the Chicago zone. Puck played back up the boards, far side, not out. Thrun kept it fresh on. Tried to go down low with it, but Pavlichev got there in front of Sim to get it out to center as the Marlies circle back as Johnstone left it for Benning. Benning a straightaway pass deflects off Pizzetta's stick back into the Wolves zone as behind the goal, Pavlichev once more. With the A on his sweater, dropped it in the near corner. Philp shot it back to center. And now Evan Vierling will play it back in his own zone as the Wolves want to complete a change. So now Seeley will leave it down to our right for Cal Foote as Ronan Seeley gets it back now. A 7th-round pick in 2020, his 4th pro season. As he played 4 seasons as well with the Everett Silvertips in junior hockey. As now he shot a puck up ahead to the logo that's tipped into the Marley zone. Villeneuve will take it behind the net, left it in the near corner, but Slavin's on it for the Wolves to the point it went with a one-timer that deflects out of play with 6:11 to go here in period number 1. Good start here for the Wolves as they're heavily out shooting the Toronto Marlies, but they've yet to find the back of the net here in period number 1. But the last few minutes, they've had a lot of good pressure down to our left as the Marlies are struggling to clear their own end. We get a look here finally at this Valimaki try on that stand-up save by the goaltender Akhtiamov as that shot was coming towards the short side as he was moving to his right, and he was able to get across and make a blocker save while standing. Face off, though, to his right. It's down to our left in the near corner as the Wolves captain's out there to take this draw. As we get a look at Easton Cowan on the bench during the faceoff. Didn't see who won it, but it looks like Toronto did. As it's dropped off at center for the top line to throw into the Wolves zone. Shaw played it around the goal to the near corner. Lettieri and Grew both can't grab it, but Shaw, the third man back in, got it and played it to the far corner of the Wolves zone. On it quickly and throwing to center was Nystrom for Chicago. Rolls back into the Toronto side of things as Villeneuve behind his own net had a bobble play with the puck there, but he was safely able to get it to Shaw on the near side. As now Shaw's being pressured by Slavin, has to hurry it up the near boards, and it does get out as it's a delayed offsides by the officials. So if the Wolves touch it, the whistle goes, but Toronto gets it back to center as Lettieri gallops his way to the red line. Scoots now to the right wing side, chipped it into the corner, bounces around to the trapezoid where the Wolves throw it back on the near side. Valimaki flipped it out to center, a bouncing puck at the red line's not grabbed by Nadeau. Benning gets it, played it across now to the Wolf blue line. Here's Rafai trying to Dance into the slot, couldn't keep possession. Back ahead now comes Chicago as Robidas with it. He can move, played it on his backhand for Nadeau. Over the Marlies line, chipped it down low. Akhtiamov aggressively plays it with a stick back to the far side, but Robidas gets it and slug it back to the near corner for Chicago. Down to our left, Suzuki. Left it in the corner for Bradley Nadeau. Back to Suzuki, left wing corner, fed it across. Valimaki shanked a shot that went in behind to the trapezoid. Robidas got it back to Valimaki, far half boards. Up it goes, right point, Nadeau covering. Slid it this way, Fensori. Wolves here looking for one with a good shift in the O zone, but Fensori here with the turnover now has himself caught. Torberg tried to get free, gets taken down. No penalty though, as Torberg tried to get a breakaway chance, but Fensori with the recovery was able to get it back for Chicago. As now back up past the penalty boxes, a puck's turned over. As at the logo, the Marlies get it back. Rafai dances his way into the left circle, dropped it off along the boards with a shot there off the left pad of Primo, coming off the stick of Nylander. Rebound right boards for Danford to go down low with it. Wolves throw it right back up. It's thrown to center, and a bouncing puck goes into the Marlies zone, and it won't go far enough for icing as Marshall Rafai's back on it. Down to our left in the near corner, he'll back skate through the blue paint. On the far side now, he banked it to the red line. It'll be steered into the Wolves zone now, where Primo's out to play it on the far wall. Came out now near the blue line. Nylander kept it, twisted, and played it back to the corner. Trying to get it in front was Hames, but it's intercepted by the Wolves and played back on the left side where it's taken by Unger Sorum, drifting his way for the right side into the Marley zone. Drew a stick up high. Doesn't look like a penalty's coming up though, as behind the Marley net, the puck will come to the near side for Nylander. Has to hurry it up. It won't get out as on the near walls. Nystrom going down low with it again. Nylander tries the other side. Put it to the far corner. Trying to cut off a Wolf was Pare, but the Wolves still are able to get it as it gets thrown to the near wall. Trying to get it out, but not this time where the Marlies. Back straightaways Unger Sorum on that far right wing. Send it this way. Nystrom one-timer. Missed to the blocker side. Rebound Karams up the boards to the far wall. Not out. Going to be kept by Neuchev far point. Thrown down low to Unger Sorum. Now back up to the right point it goes. Dish this way. Nystrom one-timer off the end boards. Back to the far wall it'll go. Sent down low by Foot. Foot there down in the far corner trying to stay with it. Lost it. Pare can't clear though. Is now able to lumberjack it back down low as Foot. Under 3 minutes to go here in this first period as the Wolves are changing on the fly. The Marlies can't clear. Marlies now do knock it out to center as Hames was able to get a stick on that pass by Legault. But the Wolves, while the Marlies are changing, trying to quickly get back in, but the pass for Vierling on the near side didn't connect. So Murmas now played it ahead to center. In front of the penalty boxes. Sim will play it back deep. To the right wing corner it goes in the Chicago zone. Johnstone won't play it, neither can Pizzetta. On it for Chicago was Ryabkin. Played it up to the far wall. Won't get out, but now it came back to him as he muscles it out. And now Rafai will just have to shoot it back in as the Marlies touch up. 2:20 to go in this first period. Jaric Rubel with you on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. So glad you've joined me here on a Tuesday night. Back here in my humble abode after a rough week of severe weather and no Wi-Fi, but we're back set up and ready for the rest of this Calder Cup Final. Thanks to those of you who joined me on Sunday. Thanks to my uncle for allowing me to broadcast from his building as well, as I'm very grateful for that. As now a puck here down the near side will be shot on net by Toronto's Johnstone, but it's blockered away by Primo out of play to the far side. As we're in the waning moments here of period number 1, but there's still one more commercial break to take, and that moment is right now, so I'll step aside back in 90 seconds here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Jaric Rubel back with you here on USM. Thanks to those of you tuning in here live on YouTube. We're on the road to 1,100 subscribers. So we're now over 1,050. So if you could be within the next 50 to get us to the next milestone of 1,100, we all thank you for your support here at USM. Under 2 minutes to go here in the first period in Toronto. Still no score, Marlies and Wolves, as the Wolves in their own defensive zone to our right play a puck to center. And now Villeneuve, fresh off of 3-assist game for the Marlies, played it on the near side for Murmas to yuck back into the Chicago zone. Came around their goal, back up the far side into center. And Bo Grew in the top lines out here now for John Gruden's team. Now it's on the near side, tipped in by Shaw. Back to the Wolves zone, it goes far corner. On it is Nystrom. He'll play it up to center. Taken by Skylar Brindamore. Dropped now at the blue line. Taken left side for Gunler. Gunler couldn't center it cleanly to the stick he wanted. It's taken back by the Marlies as Shaw tries to dance by Fensori on the near side. Almost did, and a penalty is not coming up. Fans wanted one. The building all went up in arms. But no penalty here on Fensori, who's definitely been attacked a lot here by the Marlies off the rush. But he has the puck now, attacking right to left through center into the Marlies zone. Threw it behind the net in the final minute here of period one. On the far wing, Wolves unable to get it. The Marlies do. Villeneuve right wing. In front of the penalty box is Cowan. Tried to spring Torberg into the near side. He got stood up there by Fensori with a check. Meanwhile, behind the Wolf net, it's up the far wing. Thrown to center by Nadeau. Grabbed at the logo by Suzuki. Crisscrosses into the zone now and dumped it left wing corner for Valimaki. Tried to spin it behind to the far corner, but didn't get good wood on that shot. As around it came for Thrun and the Marlies to escape back to center. Out at the logo. Benning went rink wide, pass out of the reach there of Cowan, but no icing as the Wolves get back on it with the final 23 seconds ticking away here in period one. At center, a stick here came underneath the stick of Ryan Suzuki, and a penalty is coming up. It was a stray stick too, as it was not in possession of Logan Sim, as I believe he's the one who's going to go to the box, as referee Liam Maskett here makes the call, as also the referees in this game, by the way, Grady Hamilton with Liam Maskett, as Liam Maskett, where number 41 made that call, and Anthony Lapointe and Sean Oliver are the linesmen. It was Luke Hames, actually 43, not 42 for Toronto, that took that penalty. So he takes the seat here for the Marlies, and the Wolves get their first power play of game number 3. Overall in the playoffs, they're 23.3%. The Marlies penalty kill, 82.6%, as they've killed off 16 of the last 19 penalties they've taken. They did allow a power play goal, though, in game 2 to Noah Phil. They win a D-zone draw here as it's played around the goal and up to center on the near side. Is having trouble with it was Nadeau, but he lost it. He gets it back. Final 3 seconds of period 1. He'll let a shot go, and it went right onto Akhtiamov, but he was able to deal with it and stick it to the near side as time expires here in period number 1. So it's scoreless hockey through the first 20 minutes for the first time in this series, as the Marlies here, when tied through 20 minutes in these playoffs, have a 3-1 record, and the Wolves don't have any information listed for their record when tied through 20 minutes of play, but I will let you know if I could find that information. But the Wolves here, through 20 minutes of play, dominated in the shot on goal department against the Toronto Marlies, as a majority of the play was down to our right, or down to our left in that first period, as the Wolves put 13 shots on net towards Artur Akhtiamov. He stopped the ball for Toronto, and also the Marlies put 5 shots towards Caden Primo. He stopped them all himself, and that has us through 20 minutes here tonight, with neither team finding the back of the net. Stick around, though, as just around the top of the hour, it will be the start of period number 2 here live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. If you want to go listen to Seth call Iraq versus Norway, that's live right now on the channel. You can come back here as soon as the top of the hour gets here, or if you want to sit and listen to some lo-fi beats, won't tell you otherwise. Back here soon for period 2 from Toronto. Scoreless hockey in game 3 of the Calder Cup Final between the Wolves and Marlies. Again, my name is Jaric Rubel, and you're listening to the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Welcome back into the Calder Cup Final, live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Through one period of play, we're scoreless between the Wolves and the Marlies. Shots were 13-5 Chicago in the first 20 minutes of play, but nobody was able to find the back of the net. My name is Jaric Rubel. Welcome back into the broadcast again. Thank you so much for spending your Tuesday night with me, as there's a lot of things you could be doing, but you're hanging out with me, watching some minor league hockey, so I appreciate that. And again, thank you all for staying with me through the intermission. The listener count didn't really budge, so all of you are real ones. I appreciate you guys for sticking it out here through the 18-minute long intermission, but we're ready for period number 2 in this one, as the Wolves have some carryover power play time, as Luke Hames still sits for a trip for the Marlies, as the Wolves have a minute 44 of power play time to work with on a fresh sheet of ice. They'll attack left to right in this second period, as Ryan Suzuki's out here for the draw against Logan Shaw. The Marlies will attack right to left, as Toronto wins the faceoff, and in their own zone, Dakota Murmas flicked it up the near boards, and down the ice it rolls into the Chicago zone. So down to our left, the Wolves scoop it up, as in their own end, Valimaki works his way past the benches to center. Put a pass behind Justin Robidas, came on the near wing to Unger Sorum, who will drop it off, and the Wolves will try again. Now it's dropped for Robidas at the blue line, gets the Marley logo, shot it into the right wing corner, bounced to the trapezoid, Barak Tiamov plays it for the Leafs. Into the near corner, it's played, touch to Logan Shaw, and back behind it goes for Thrun. Thrun got his pocket picked, the Wolves are on it. Now it's dropped behind to Suzuki near corner, has a man breaking to the goal, got it to him, but the puck never made it to Seeley, as he lost his stick, wanted a penalty, and I don't believe is getting one, as the goaltender stays on through all this. So the Wolves here drop it back off in their own zone, under a minute to go in in the power play here, and a minute into period number 2. On the far wall, trying to re-enter the Marlies zone was Robidas, or I should say Bradley Nadeau, but he got blocked off, and Toronto gets the puck back left wing. Here's Thrun with a stretch pass, shorthanded on the right wing. Johnstone's driving in, pulling to the backhand, and he shot it wide to the near side, as crashing into the goal was a Wolf as well, as the whistle goes, as the net came way off its moorings, as the goalposts are now up against the back boards facing the crowd. It was Juuso Valimaki, the defenseman, that went crashing into the boards, as with 18:49 to go in the second period, 34 seconds to go on the Wolf power play, we get a stoppage. Well, look here at the replay, as Henry Thrun, he had a stretch pass up ahead to Alex Nylander, which generated the penalty shot in Game 2. He put one rink wide up the far wing from his own blue line for Johnstone, and Johnstone driving up the right wing, pulled it to his backhand on top of the paint, trying to beat Primo to that right pad like he got beat 3 times on Sunday by, and 3 of those goals were all on the backhand as well. So Johnstone trying to replicate a little bit of the Game 2 magic the Marlies had with that try. Face off now, 2 Primos left in the Wolves D zone on this power play, but Suzuki wins the draw, and now he gets a return pass out the center as this power play resumes over the Marley line. A stretch, or I should say a chip pass got taken away by Toronto, and it's thrown back down the ice yet again by Shaw. So with 18 seconds to go on the Wolf power play, Valimaki picks it back up, flung it up the right wing for Philp, who had a power play goal on Sunday. Lost it over the Marley line. Benning tries to get it in front of his own net, collected it, got it to center, and now at the red line, it's poked away. Johnstone's going to get another breakaway shorthanded. His second try, this time it's gloved by Primo on a shot that was elevated, as Johnstone did the right thing, but Primo stayed with it with the glove. And we stay scoreless as penalty time's now up. Hames out of the box for Toronto is on the right wing. A bouncing puck goes over the Marley line. The Wolves go after it in the near corner, but it's picked up by Rafai for Toronto. He'll shoot it down the ice, missing Lettieri, and this is going to result in an icing. So 17:55 to go in the second period. After that icing call, back to even strength we go, as Johnstone here had a pair of short-handed bids, as he was not able to beat Caden Primo, the first of which missing to the right pad, the second of which he tried to go to the glove side, baiting him to the backhand, but that shot was all for naught, as Caden Primo there with the glove kept his eyes on it the whole way to make the save. Face off to the right, down to our right in front of the Marlie net. Going to be pulled back by Toronto as the top line gets it out the center. Lettieri played it around in between the benches for Rafai to shoot in at the end of a shift. And it'll go around the Wolf goal, and it misses everybody back out the center. So the Marlies now have to reset as in front of the penalty box is a pass for Grew, didn't connect. So now the Wolves take back over as Cal Foot goes D to D. Nystrom played it up the far wing. It'll be tipped over the Marlie line, but thrown back to center. Drop pass by Lettieri nicely for Shaw. Back left wing over the Wolf lines. Lettieri pulling up, waiting for the trailer. Mermis now has it left circle. Button hooks now plays it across. Right wing circle. Shot there, and a shot goes in. It leaked through the 5-hole of Primo as Easton Cowan has the opening goal of the game for Toronto. So 8th goal of these playoffs for Easton Cowan, the 28th overall pick of the Maple Leafs in the 2023 draft, as he was set up all alone at the far face-off circle by the Illinois native Dakota Mermis, and he let a wrister go that just leaked through Primo. He thought he had it, but there was enough momentum on that shot that went underneath his blocker and rolled over the goal line. So Easton Cowan here gets the Marlies on the board with his 8th goal of the playoffs. And when scoring first in this postseason, the Toronto Marlies doesn't look like it's in front of me, so I apologize. I was ready to bring that to you, but the Marlies game notes apparently does not have that. But they lead it 1-0. Perhaps that stat will come up on the screen, but we'll see if that does occur. Cowan, though, played it back into the Wolves zone, and on the far side, getting tied up is Mermis on the far wing, trying to dig it out. Seeley for Chicago. He punched it out to center, and did it go out of play? It did, but the linesman here saying it was deflected, so it doesn't look like they're going to rule a delay of game penalty, and the faceoff will just stay inside the Chicago zone. So yeah, looking at the Marlies game notes here, it doesn't look like I'm seeing any numbers on what happens when they score first, so we'll just kind of, oh, nope, I'm not seeing it at all, so never mind. I thought I found it for a second, but they do not have that information available to me. That's very rare for a lot of teams, but 1-0 Toronto here. It's the first time they've opened the scoring in this series, as the Wolves opened the scoring in games 1 and 2 and lost those games. We'll see what happens here in game 3 with the Marlies leading the series 2-0. As a face-off here to the left of Primo's, won by Toronto's Haves, punched right on net by Benning, and it got punched to the far side by the goaltender Caden Primo, as now in that far corner. They battle away at it. It comes out through center, and now the Marlies take it right back over in their own zone as Johnstone, who's had a great second period, gets the red line, and he'll shoot it in, and around the goal it'll go to the near side. Turned over. Robida got it away from Hames. Put it back behind the Wolf net, though, as the Marlies get it right back. Now back in the far corner of the Wolves zone, trying to dig it out for Toronto was Nylander, but it got taken back by Justin Robida. He's the center for Chicago, and in front of their own bench, Nadeau's trying to steer it over the line. It's an offsides. If they touch it, they do. So now a whistle here at 16:02 remaining in period number 2. So again, it's World Cup season here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. And Matthew Owens, in just under an hour, has another game for you as Argentina takes on Algeria at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And then tomorrow, it'll be Seth Eves on the call for England versus Croatia, 4 Eastern, 3 Central. And then on Thursday, it'll be a couple of games as well. Switzerland versus Bosnia with Matt White. And then after that, Canada versus Qatar with Matthew Owens. That's our World Cup coverage the next 3 nights here on USM. Face off in front of the Wolf bench, as we've still yet to drop this puck following the offsides. Sim steps in for Johnstone on this draw for the Marlies, and he's able to do enough to win it, as the Marlies' fourth line will throw it into the near corner of the Wolf zone. Down to our left, it'll be Valimaki tied up with Johnstone in that corner, trying to get that puck free, as now Sim's taking a couple of cross checks from Fensori in behind, as they're jostling down to our left in the near corner. Puck comes free out of the trapezoid. Picked up by Valimaki. He can't get it out. Pizzetta hounds him. Puck at the skates here of Slavin, who's without a stick. He soccered it up, but it didn't get out. Danford's with it, drifting at the blue line straight away. Skates back to the far point, looking to put it towards the goal. Got deflected in the slot. Bouncing puck. Came free to Gunler, and he'll backhand it down the ice. It rolls straight down. Will it go far enough for an icing? It will, as the whistle blows here with 15:18 to go in period number 2. So the Marlies here had the Wolves scrambling for a second, but they were yet to get a puck on net during that opportunity, as we have the broken stick of Josiah Slavin being picked up now by the linesman. As the top line heads over the boards now for these Marlies, Grew, Shaw, and Lettieri. Lettieri here, a 10-year AHL vet. He has 6 points in this series through the first 2 games, as it'll be Bo Grew to take this face-off instead of Logan Shaw, who's typically the centerman on this line. As off the draw, now Grew's able to pull it back cleanly. And at the left point, Mermis plays it down low. It'll go to the left wing corner. Shots 13-7 here in favor of the Wolves. They've yet to get a shot on goal this period, though, as the Marlies have the only 2. Marlies, they'll have to retreat back to center as the Wolves got a puck out to neutral ice. So now down to our right, Dakota Mermis parks behind his own net. As on the left wing, he plays it to Grew, who avoided a check here from Neuvert. Now put it back up the left side, and it'll come back out to center. So the Wolves, Neuchev back on the near side, trying to cut back into the Marlies zone. He will on his backhand, drifting down low behind the goal to the far circle, pulled up, played it back down low, and now behind the goal, here are the Wolves working it in the near corner, trying to take a shot to Unger Sorum as he went off the far post and it deflected to the far side. He gets it back from Nystrom. Unger Sorum working near the blue line, chipped it off the boards to the right circle for Nystrom. Nystrom pulls up in the right corner on his backhand, spins to his 4, gets tied up though with Mermis. Puck played down low though to Philp, as Noah Philp behind the Marlies goal line, pivoting to his backhand, threw it in front, shot there, shot down by Akhtiamov, as it was a good try down low. That was set up by Noah Philp. Neuchev with that try couldn't bury it, as with 14-13 to go in this second period, we get another whistle. Marlies up here 1-0 on home ice in game number 3, leading this series 2-0. We get a look here at that try by Unger Sorum as he tried to go off the far post and in. He drew the post he was looking for, but it ricocheted back out to the far side. The Wolves' closest scoring chance of this game thus far. So Easton Cowan, the goal scorer for Toronto, as now a face-off here comes to the right of Akhtiamov following that save, and Quillian's able to pull it back for the Marlies as he flips it to center, as Cowan's back on the ice as well with Torberg. Behind the Wolf net to our left, Alexis Legault played it up to the far side, chips in between the benches, and going after it now is Nadeau. He has it over the line to the right circle. Here's Suzuki, played it across, found the trailer, Seeley with a slap shot, and he missed, and it got deflected out of play off a stick with 13:52 to go in the second period. 1-0 Marlies on the goal set up by Dakota Mermis, scored by Easton Cowan, as Toronto with the 1-0 lead here in game number 3, looking to take a 3-0 series lead in this Calder Cup Final. One nothing Marlies here on home ice in game number 3 as Easton Cowan got his 8th of the postseason, his 14th point as well. As with that point, he's now 4th overall on the Marlies in scoring and 3rd in the goal category with 8, as he only sits behind Vinni Lettieri and Logan Shaw. Jaric Rubel back with you here live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel as the Marlies fans here making some noise with their rally towels in the Coca-Cola Coliseum right next door of Toronto Stadium, host stadium here of the World Cup. So we have the World Cup coming up here in the matter of moments to Argentina and Algeria with Matthew Owens. So the Marlies win a face-off here in their D zone to our right, and they play it down to the Wolves zone to our left as the Wolves turn it over here in their own end, but Cowan can't come up with it as a good recovery by Fensori. Will get that puck to center. Nadeau's unable to pick it up, rolls back to the Marlies zone for Benning to go this way for Thrun. Thrun up the left wall, come to Cohen as he'll come over the Wolf line, skating to the slot, leaving it left circle. Here's Torberg driving to the net, and he couldn't get it free as Nadeau there stick checked him. Back at the far circle's Cowan. He'll drop it off straight away. Benning looking, he shoots, save made Primo, rebound put wide to the far wall, came back to the slot. Here's Thrun looking for a tip, couldn't get it off a stick of a Marley as on the near side the Wolves will chip it out the center. Robida, and a delayed penalty coming up here as it's going to go against Toronto as the whistle goes as Benning touches up with 13:02 to go here in the second period. So the Wolves here going to get a man advantage. We'll see what the call is and who's going to go to the penalty box as Fensori looks to be without a helmet here, and going to take a seat here now for the Marlies is going to be Jacob Quillian. So it looks like he gets penalized here for Toronto. And the Wolves here, so their second power play of the game, a high sticking minor issued out as he caught Fensori right in the nose and knocked his helmet off with that high stick as that came just moments after the try by Torberg. Now the Wolves here to the man advantage, looking to tie this game at 1 here in period 2. Again, trailing 2-0 in this Calder Cup Final. A win here tonight is massive, as falling behind 3-0 is detrimental, as it'll be very unlikely the Wolves would find a way in that case. So face off here down to our right and to the right of Artur Akhtiamov, the Marley goaltender. Tie up here off the face off. Shaw pulled it back as now a tie up in the corner. Thrun got taken down. That's going to be a penalty for a high stick on the Wolves as just 6 seconds into this power play, they end up getting a high stick of their own and being guided to the penalty box now looks to be Noah Philp. So the second penalty of this game Philp has taken as it came just 6 seconds in to this Chicago power play. So now it'll be 4-on-4 for the next minute 54 as Philp heads back to the penalty box for the second time tonight as his stick almost came up and got Pare, and then on the other end he got Thrun right in the corner as the Wolves backup goaltender Amir Miftaho in the corner as well watching that play. He was annoyed. He went palms up right away, and I know he wasn't arguing with the official. I know he was annoyed his team got penalized as soon as they went on the power play. And just like that, 4 skaters aside we go. It'll be Lettieri and Gru, the forwards out here for this O-zone draw, the defensemen Mermis and Villeneuve, as it'll be a face-off here coming up in the Wolves' defensive end. So it'll be to the right of Caden Primo. Brindamore to take this draw as he's out there with Noel Gunler. Ronan Seeley, the lone defenseman I could see at the moment. Would imagine he's out there with Legault, though. Now waiting on the linesman to drop the biscuit. He does. Tied up. Kick to the near corner by Brindamore. The Wolves try and grab it. Hassling around at it was Gru and Legault as the puck does get out to center. Here now Seeley will play it back to Legault as the Wolves look to start something from their own end. Pass up ahead, goes in the skates at Gunler. He collects though as he muscles his way over the Marley line. Left it in the slot, but nobody home there. Gru will take it back for Toronto. Skates behind his own net to our right. Now gets going straight away to center. Gets the red line at the logo. Played it left wing. Almost getting offside was Mermis, but onside says the official. As behind the Wolf goal, no to our left, it's Bo Gru. Up to the right point, Villeneuve. This way to Mermis. Mermis will play it back to the left corner. Lettieri trying to shake off Seeley. Does. Played it back door. Couldn't connect with Villeneuve. Played it off the far boards. Now on his backhand. Spun it this way. Lettieri one-timer right on and a save made by Primo with 1:05 to go on this 4-on-4. So Villeneuve here with 3 assists in game number 2. The backhand pass here straight across for Lettieri, right in his wheelhouse. That one-timer hit the crest, that Wolf logo right on the chest of Caden Primo. As now Lettieri and Gru go off the ice for Toronto, as do Mermis and Villeneuve. As again, Villeneuve with 3 assists in game 2, now up to 17 assists this postseason. That leads the AHL. Has now taken this draw for Toronto will be Pare against Suzuki for Chicago. Pare with a goal in Game 1 wins this draw, and on the near wing, it's played by Thrawn on his backhand to the far wall. Shaw with it, played it back in the slot. Thrawn can't grab it as it was at shoulder height. Now on the near side, it's going to be poked away by Unger Sorensen behind. Shaw does get to it first, though, as he backhanded it to Nylander. Far right wing corner, put it back in the slot. Shaw turnaround shot off the pad of Primo. Back behind it goes Nylander. And the trapezoid flung it around to the near left side, up at the blue line. Thrawn grabs it. Henry Thrawn goes back down low with it. Near corner, Nylander with the penalty shot goal in game number 2. Trying to shake free of a Wolf, but good job there on the near side to punch it out to center by Ronan Seeley. As now the Marlies have to get back in their own end, and they'll park behind their own net with under half a minute to go on this 4-on-4 sequence. So under 11 and a half to go in this second period as well. Still 1-0 Toronto on the goal by Easton Cowan that came earlier in this period. Thrawn still behind the Marlie net here with 10 seconds left on 4-on-4 time, as now he'll start a breakout up ahead as the Marlies get their power play crew on. A stretch pass over the logo, found Danford left side, the defenseman in with a shot. It went off the side of the net, came back in front, through the slot it rolls. Does it get out? It won't. Out of the box now comes Quillian, fresh on. He takes a shot from the far circle, and that's gloved all the way by Primo, as that kills off the rest of the time on the Marlie power play that followed after the 4-on-4 time. So 10:54 to go here in this second period following that try by Jacob Quillian for the Toronto Marlies, as Nylander here had a good try as well, setting up Shaw in the slot, as Shaw and Lettieri had probably the two best tries of that 4-on-4 sequence. They come up empty-handed, still on top though 1-0 are these Toronto Marlies. Face-off down to our left with 10:54 to go in the second. It'll be to the left of Caden Primo, as it'll be Justin Robida, or I should say Noah Philpin for this draw, as he's out here with Bradley Nadeau at the moment. He won it clean behind the net, but it's taken back by Torberg to the left circle. Cowan tried a one-timer from one knee, didn't get it through, but it came back to him from the left circle. He skates in, tries a shot off the right pad of Primo, and it came back on the near side. Philp got it to center, getting twisted up were the Wolves, and it's taken back now by Quillen to the far wall. Back in come the Marlies at the circle. A shot by Torberg, shouldered away by Primo as it deflects out of play here at 10:29 to go in the second period. So Caden Primo here with a couple of good saves as of late for the Wolves and this latest shift. The first one on Easton Cowan, as this shot from deep in the left circle went right off the right pad of Primo. And then the latest try by Torberg here at the right circle, as he was able to fight that off with the shoulder as it goes out of play to the near side. So face off here back to Primo's left, as the Marlies get a line change on now, and the fourth line wins the draw courtesy Johnstone. At the right point now is Villeneuve, skating it straight away, threw it across Murmas right point with the wrist shot deflected out of play, as we get another whistle here at 10:21 to go in the second period. So Calder Cup Final game number 4 will be on the air right here on Thursday. It'll be the Wolves and the Marlies. Who else would it be? It gets underway at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. First crack at the AHL myself. First time ever we've had it on the channel as well during this Calder Cup Final. A few regular seasons ago, as I'm a Chicago local, thought about doing some Wolves games, but they never really lined up with my availability and other NHL and other broadcasting schedules here. But happy we could get the Calder Cup Final for you here in June of 2026. So face-off down to our left, to the left of Primo, won by the Wolves, Pavlichev, as Seeley will flip a biscuit out to center. Over the Marlie line, it bounces past Villeneuve, as he has to nudge it now behind his net for Murmas in the near side. He played it up ahead to Johnstone. Back over the red line he goes. Now the Wolf Blues skating his way into the zone, lost it, drifting to the far circle, and a good takeaway by Slavin. Played it on the near wing now for Legault to go across to Seeley, as the Marlies here in this period out shooting the Wolves 9-1. But back in on the right wing comes Pavlichev with a drag move through his legs behind the Marlie net, spun it around, and it went over off a skate to the far side. Kept in at the far wall by Slavin, thrown back down to the corner. In the near corner, Johnstone will launch it around to Villeneuve on the far side, as he will park behind the Marlie net now here with 9:39 to go in the second. He launched a backhander up the near side. Doesn't get very far, though, as it's thrown back to center by Valimaki. Johnstone first one on it, though, for the Marlies, as he'll put it right back in and head for a change. So Paré, Nylander, and Quillen now back over the boards for Toronto. As on the near side, here's Valimaki playing it onto the Wolves' Blade of Sealy. Put it down low behind the Marlies net. No icing, says the linesman, as it rolls to the far corner. Up to the point, it's going to be kept that back down low it goes. Unger Sorum, left wing corner, being hassled here on the far side by Ben Danford. Battle for it on that far wall, poked from Paré, but to a Wolf, dropped in the slot, and a shot fought off there by Akhtiamov. Had a great try by Fensori. Now a 2-on-1 the other way for the Marlies. Left wing, here's a centering attempt by Nylander that never made it on top of the paint for Hames, as it ended up coming to Primo first, who takes a whistle with 8:50 to go in this second period. Still 1-0 Toronto on home ice, as they're looking to take a 3-0 stranglehold in this Calder Cup Final, as you're listening to it live right here with Jaric Rubel on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Back here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto, just down the road from the Scotiabank Arena. Jaric Rubel with you here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel, as the Marlies are still up 1-0 here in Game 3 of the Calder Cup Final over the Chicago Wolves. It's a packed house here too at the Coliseum. Not many empty seats here in this just lower bowl arena. There's a couple of suites and press boxes up near the roof, but overall it's just one lower bowl section. Not much to it. Just a simple minor league hockey stadium. So face-off here coming up to the right of the Wolf goaltender, Caden Primo. It's in the near face-off circle to our left, as Skylar Brindamore's to take this draw for the Wolves against Bo Grew for the Toronto Marlies. The linesman here having a chat with Brindamore. Now says we're ready to drop the puck. Has Brindamore put his stick down first, being the road team, but now says he doesn't like what he's looking at. Going to have a chat now with Bo Grew, as now he's not happy with the other side. So now the linesman here does drop the puck. Grew will pull it back. The Marlies control. Here's Rafai straight away. Long wrist shot save made Primo through a screen, as right on top of the paint was Bo Grew looking for a deflection, but Primo there able to stay with it and make the stop. So 8:45 to go in the second period following that play, set up on net by Marshall Rafai, the defenseman, in his fourth season with the Marlies. Has 2 goals, 3 assists this playoff. It's a 6'2", 200-pound blue liner, as the Marlies win another draw to the left of Primo. Here's a shot from the right circle by Grew. Never made it to the net. Knocked to the near circle. Down low it goes behind the Wolf net. Grew trying to dig it out under the skate of Nystrom. He poked it free to the left corner. On it first is Logan Shaw. Dropped it back in the corner. Lettieri shook off a Wolf. Got it. Left circle. Grew fanned on a shot. Came to Shaw. He'll try. Put it over the crossbars. Getting a piece was Primo. Back on the far side, the Wolves trying to soccer it to a skate. Tied up though as Grew poked it free. Came near the blue line. It's directed to center by Chicago. And now resetting Rafai for Toronto. Now back in his own end, he'll skate all the way as pressuring him on the forechecks. Brindamore forces Rafai to play a bouncing puck up the far side to Lettieri at the red line. Sent it this way. Here's Danford. Collided with his own man. Grew into the zone. Puck dropped back off past the penalty boxes as Rafai takes it back for Toronto. So he waits and now put it back up the left wing. Lettieri touch pass over the line. Grew gave it back, but it appears to be offsides according to the linesman. So another stoppage in play here at 7:54 to go in the second period. So a live update here live on the channel as I get a notification from ESPN. You're listening to the Calder Cup playoffs, so I'd imagine all of you are hockey fans. The 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs were the most watched on record in the United States with an average of 1.8 million viewers, as it was drawing tremendously through all 4 rounds. Pretty great to see, especially under this TV deal where not everybody has Turner Broadcasting on TNT. So it's beautiful to see that these playoffs were the most successful here in the United States. So the Wolves here playing it back through neutral ice into the far corner of the Marlies zone, bouncing to the near side. Danford's back on it for Toronto. Played it out to the logo. Cowan couldn't settle it down. Came to the far wall for Robidas. Robidas trying to shake free of Cowan. Sauced it to the near side, and it's taken up by Legault. Legault from in front of the penalty boxes. Shot one into the Marlies zone. Around it goes, far corner. Bouncing puck picked up by Benning. Played it at the far circle for Cowan. Nudged it this way for Thrun. As Thrun back over the red line, now the blue. Played it off sides as he made a bad pass as he skated himself into the zone too early, and the whistle goes with 7:11 to go in the second period. But Henry Thrun, he's made more than a couple of nice passes here in this Calder Cup final, and he's had a lot of NHL time. He played with the San Jose Sharks for plenty of games before coming over here to Toronto, but before going to San Jose, he was a member of the Anaheim Ducks, a 2019 4th round pick. But Henry Thrun hasn't really played too much in the AHL, as he was part of the Sharks for a number of years, but I guess never really made the cut for the Maple Leafs defensive corps. And now here in the Toronto Marlies system has done well, had 9 points in 19 playoff games heading in to this Calder Cup final, as he's yet to get a point here in this series. He hasn't had a point in this series, though they should have given him one on the Alex Nylander penalty shot, as he's the one who sprung him in, but it doesn't quite work like that, as now off a neutral zone draw. While I was talking, the Marlies shot one in that deflected back out of play behind the Wolf net, so it's 7:07 to go in the second period. We have another face-off coming up here in game number 3. And again, in these AHL playoffs, these best-of-7 series are 2-3-2, meaning 2 home games for the home ice advantage team, then 3 straight on the road, followed up by the final 2 games at home if necessary, as it's not like the NHL with the 2 home, 2 away, then back at home, back on the road, and back at home. As now, guess what? Right off another draw, the Wolves end up going offside, so we'll keep yapping here while we have another neutral zone draw coming up with 6:59 to go in the second period. But the Toronto Marlies, they've had 8 come-from-behind wins in these playoffs, and their head coach said, with our leadership, there's no panic in our room. The bench was great throughout the whole game in Game 2. Thought we were outstanding, and again, we knew that the Wolves were going to be good. Thought, though, that we played better than we did even in game number 1. And it's just one more game. We know at this stage what it means. And again, it's nice to get 2 wins on the road. Now going back to Toronto. So face off in front of the penalty boxes, won by Philp for the Wolves. And at the logo, here comes Fensori, shooting it into the near corner. It'll be gloved on its way by Akhtiamov as he decides to take another whistle. So now another stoppage with 6:49 to go here in this second period. But again, I mentioned this on Tuesday in Game 2, as this is the first Calder Cup final since 2007 to feature 2 teams that met in the regular season, as it was Hamilton versus Hershey back then. Now 19 years later, it's Chicago versus Toronto, as these 2 teams met in the regular season on February 28th and March the 1st, as well as November 1st and November 2nd of this season. They split the regular season series 2 games apiece. Prior to that, they hadn't met since the 2022 season, and we go as far back to 2015 to be within the last 12 games they've played here, now through the last 12 matchups. As on my last 10 game sheet from game number 1, April 1st, 2015, the Wolves won 2-1. That was 12 games ago. So these 2 teams don't meet all that often, but met now for the 8th time this season for the 7th time this season in game number 3 tonight. So back in the Wolves zone to our left, Valimaki, who had himself one heck of a game too, put it up the near wing. It's tipped ahead for Philp to steer into the right corner of the Marlies zone. In that corner, Mermis turned it over in the slot. Calfoot there had it poked away by Pare for Toronto. Back to center it goes between the benches while falling, directing it on his backhand his foot as the puck goes to the near corner of the Marlies zone again. Mermis though on it for Toronto, sprung it ahead. Bo Grew fresh on the ice over the Wolf line, left side, looking, played it back down low away from Shaw, came to the far wall of Terry, back in front for Shaw, and it went off a stick to the near side. On it's Legault for Chicago, played it ahead out to center. On it those Rafai for the Marlies as he goes across, and Villeneuve gets it across into the Wolves zone. Back at that blue line though, it's touched to the near side for Chicago as Nystrom weaves his way to center. Over the red, now the Marley blue, right circle, try to shot, goes over the crossbar, and it deflects out of play with 5:34 to go. In period number 2, Marley still in front 1-0 on the goal by Easton Cowan earlier in the frame as you're listening to Game 3 of the AHL's Calder Cup Final, live with Jaric Rubel on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Top line back on the ice here for the Marlies as they lead it 1-0 here in the late stages of the second period. Jaric Rubel here with you, here live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channels. We get a graphic on the screen here courtesy of the Marlies broadcast. 465 career NHL games amongst this Marlies roster. The Wolves have just 21, as that's between Suzuki, Slavin, Philp, Nadeau, and Brindamore, along with Foote and Legault. So only a few players on this Wolves team having a cup of coffee in the NHL. Is actually that number on the Wolves is wrong, because Cal Foote, as we have an ice or no icing here on Toronto, I beg your pardon, but Cal Foote, he's got 145 career NHL games. So I don't know what this Marlies broadcast is thinking, but that was the graphic they put on screen. But on the left wing side in the Wolves zone, Lettieri, he's going to go across, pass intended on the far wing for Thrun, couldn't connect as the Wolves get it. It's thrown back to center, bouncing puck settled down at the logo by Nadeau, drifting left wing over the Marley line, sauced it back, found the trailer into the zone, set up a pass backdoor. Suzuki one-timer, didn't go as it went off the end boards, might have hit the goalpost as back in they come on the far side. Centering attempt by Nadeau on net as he almost caught Akhtiamov off guard, but he was able to stop it for the Marlies with 4:47 to go in the second. Now Lettieri throwing a couple of jolts here at a Wolf as I'm trying to get a number here as the one who was a recipient of a right punch by Lettieri. It was Valimaki, who's now got a foggy visor as he's now trying to keep chirping here to the Marlies. And we'll see if a penalty's coming up here for a rough on Lettieri, as if Charles Alexis Legault in game number 2 was given a penalty for jabbing Logan Sim, who baited him into it. I think Lettieri should be given one himself here. Look here at the Suzuki one-timer. It was Matthew Benning who dove out with the backside of his skates to block that one-timer by Suzuki to keep the Marlies in front. Heck of an effort here by the 6th-round pick in 2012, the 32-year-old defenseman, Matt Benning. Played in the NHL with the Oilers, Predators, and Sharks. He's been a big defensive piece here for the Marlies here in the playoffs. Face off in the O-zone for the Wolves to the left of Akhtiamov. Quillen's able to beat Brindamore on the draw, but the Marlies can't clear. Is on the right circle, drifting its foot with a big slap shot and a big save made by Akhtiamov as he was able to knock it down into his glove with his left shoulder. As he now gives the puck back to the linesman. As Calfoot with that shot, first year here on the Chicago Wolves, 14th overall pick in Tampa Bay in the 2017 draft. 145 career NHL games that apparently this Marlies broadcast doesn't think exists, but in this playoffs has 9 points in 16 games. Or 18 games, I should say, if you include the 2 of the finals, as I'm going off the notes I wrote for game 1, as many of them are still valid. But here now into our near face-off circle. Down to our right, Quillen's able to beat Gunler on this draw as the Marlies get possession. It's on the right wing. Danford played it out the center, shy of the red line when dumping it. The whistle will end up going, as this ends up becoming an icing on the Marlies. So face-off coming back into the O-zone for the Wolves yet again as they enter here tonight in Toronto, carrying a 2-game road winning streak. 3 of their last 4 they've won on the road as well. So they have a 6-2 record in this Calder Cup playoff as they've played much better, obviously, as you could tell by that record, than at the All-State Arena, where they've only won 4 of the 10 games of the postseason played there. It's now down to our right, following the Marley icing. Phillips in there to win a draw for the Wolves against Quillen. They possess in the O-zone as Seeley played it far side for Unger Soren to try a shot that went down Main Street but blocked to the near side off a leg. Cowan will flip it out the center. A bouncing puck over the Wolf line won't be grabbed by Torberg. Instead, Soren will play it back on the far side. Chipped in by Philp. Far corner of the Marley zone it'll go. And in that far corner, Mervis got crashed into by Neuchev. Lost the puck. Played up the far wall. Kept in now. The Wolves will play it down low courtesy Seeley as it rolls through the trapezoid to the right wing corner. Marlies play it up. It gets out. Back at the red line. Neuchev collects for Chicago again. Cross for Unger Soren to steer in behind the Marley net. Trying to play it. Akhtiamov had to poke it along as he almost couldn't get it in time before the restricted area. But Mermis grabs it. Played it out the center. Wolves have to touch up again as they do. Valimaki left wing will put it in behind the Marley net. Mermis again up the far boards. Here's Villanov. Back up the center. He'll play it. Cowan racing ahead over the red line. Gets to Wolf Blue. Left circle. Fans out a shot from the left wing. Back on it he goes, though, as he has it along the boards. Played it down low, but Valimaki's there for the Wolves to put it right back to center. And past the penalty boxes, Sorum has it for Chicago. Kitty corners it to the left wing side as the Wolves are changing. On the ice now comes the Brindamore line. As around the goal it'll come, but the Marlies have possession. Down to our right as Rafael shoot it up the boards. No icing as it's into the Wolf end. On the far side now, here's Johnstone, who's had a great game. Trying to get rewarded for his efforts. Plays it down through the trapezoid. Put it up the near wing, but it's going to be taken to center by Slavin. And out to the logo, it's one arm for Brindamore. Galloping left wing over the Marley line. Trying to shot blocker side on Akhtiamov, but it went wide off the end boards to the near side it goes. On that near half board, trying to dig it out for Chicago was Brindamore, but it came to Johnstone as the Marlies will end up with it. Out to center, Danford played it. As in front of the benches, Loganson backhands one into the Wolf end. Behind the Chicago net, Cal Foot back up the near wing. Collected at center by Brindamore. Shot off the near wing into the Marley end once more. As down to our right behind the Marley net, it's now Benning, leaving it for Thrun. Thrun with a stretch pass. He's hit many of these in this series. It went off a Wolf skate, but came to Nylander. He skates in over the line to the right circle, drifting, shooting, and a glove save short side by Caden Primo, as he's able to take that for a whistle with 2:25 to go in the second period. So the Wolves got to be careful here with Henry Thrun on the ice for the Marlies, as every time he has the puck in his defensive zone, now not of course every time, but seemingly a lot of the games in this series, he has generated a lot with the stretch pass through neutral ice, and the Wolves got to be careful they don't get caught when he's looking for it. So Hames Nylander still on the ice here for the Marlies, along with Pare here for this draw. As Cedric Pare, the 6th round pick of the Bruins in 2019, now with Toronto in his second season here, looking to win this draw against Ryan Suzuki. Suzuki won it to the near side of the circle. It's kicked around, came to Pare on the circle, and he'll try a shot short side that's shut down by Primo, as he's able to put a paw on it to get another whistle 6 seconds after the last one, with 2:20 now remaining in period number 2. So this is the second series in a row in which the Marlies have taken a 2-0 series lead by winning both games on the road, and their 6 straight road victories are a franchise playoff record, and in 5 of the 6 victories, the winning goal has been scored in either overtime or the final 2 minutes of regulation. They're on home ice, though, here in this one. As to the left of Primo, they are unable to win a draw as the Wolves take possession. As galloping to center with it's Nadeau. Played it ahead for Suzuki to tip in. Nadeau on his horse to get to it first, and apparently it wasn't tipped, says the linesman, as it ends up being an icing. So back down to our left, the faceoff comes yet again. Offensive zone draw for the top line for Toronto as the captain Logan Shaw is back out there with Bogru and Vinni Lettieri. As Logan Shaw had the overtime winner in game number 2 of this series, as he was the only Marlie as well to appear in all 93 regular season and playoff games. As he's out there for this draw against Ryan Suzuki, able to pull it back to the right point. Here's Villeneuve, played it the side for Lettieri's one-timer. Got knifed away, though, by the stick and Nystrom, the Wolf defenseman. But in that left corner, down to our left, Shaw to the blue line. Mermis one-timer off a Robidas skate. Back to center at ricochets. Marlies want to tag up, but they have to throw it back in before the Wolves were going to take it away. So back down to our left now. Here is Cal Foote behind the Chicago net. Played it up the far wall. Skating to center's Robidas. Deking past Shaw, left wing into the Marlies zone. Played it in the slot off a skate. Taken back by Shaw. He gallops over the logo. Try to split the D. He lost possession as now it's going to be offsides if Gru touches it on the near board. So Legault gets it back in the final 90 seconds for Chicago. As Robidas back with it. Nice move past Lettieri at center. Couldn't get past Shaw, however, as the puck's back for Seeley in the Wolf end. This way it goes for Legault. As the Kane prospect goes up the near wing. It's going to be tipped in by Suzuki, who got elbowed there by Mermis along the way. And meanwhile, the puck's played back to center by Villeneuve for Toronto. On the far wing, getting by his Gru apparently on that side. Dropped it in the slot for Shaw. As Shaw couldn't do anything with it. Lost it as Suzuki pool cued it back to center in the final minute now of the second period. Puck's dumped in behind the Marlie net as both teams are changing. Down to our right, it's picked up by Benning, who had that huge shot block a few moments ago. Shot it up ahead off of Easton Cowan. It deflects into the left corner of the Chicago end. As Valimaki lumberjacked it along. Got it taken away, though, as Brindamore behind the goal for Toronto is Cowan. Cowan spinning free to the far circle. Has space. Right circle. Drifting. Sent it this way. Benning one-timer. Punched away Primo, and it stays inside his blocker as it got trapped between his blocker and his right pad as he takes a whistle here at 34.8 seconds remaining in the second period. So still 1-0 Toronto here in this game number 3 as they've had the majority of the chances here in period 2, but the Wolves as of late have had more pucks down to our right as they're trying to find the equalizer here in this game. But the Cowan line remains out here on the ice for this ensuing faceoff. As off the draw, it's played back by Chicago. As in the near corner, Torberg's trying to dig it out for Toronto. He played it up the boards, but it's only for the Wolves to take. On the right wing side, Gunler muscled it over the Marlie line, but Thrun played it right back past the penalty boxes. Bouncing puck over the Chicago line. Grabbed Quillen, dropped. Here's Cohen drifting in the slot through the legs. Backhand try. In the paint it goes, and a save made by Primo as he was able to cover up the follow-up try by Luke Hames as the Marlies here almost capitalized to make it 2-0. But Primo standing tall in the blue paint for Chicago. So Cowan here with a beautiful move through the legs, and that backhand try had space. Primo was not in the butterfly position as he had a lot of room between the wickets there for that puck to slide through. But it just of all places went off the right pad. And then it was Quillen on the follow-up, not Hames for Toronto. That was there, that could not bury the loose change, but a heck of an effort here from Easton Cowan, who's had himself one heck of a game 3. Face off to the right of Primo, though, in the final Baker's dozen. Near circle down to our left is won by Chicago's Philp against Bogru, and it's flipped to center. Unger Sorm has it right wing over the Toronto line. Drifting, dropped it in the slot straight away. Trying to weave in his foot. He'll try a shot. Blocked in front. Taken away by Rafai. Cleared up, and that will kill the remaining time of period 2. So 1-0 Toronto here through 40 minutes of play. When leading through 40 minutes in this postseason, the Marlies are a perfect 9-0, and the Chicago Wolves, when trailing after 2 of these playoffs, are 2-2, as they also have the 1 overtime loss, but it's in the playoffs, so 2-3 should be the record, as they ended up losing game number 3, or I should say number 2 in overtime after trailing 3-2 through 40 minutes of play. shots on goal in that second period. A whopping 17 for the Toronto Marlies, just 4 for the Chicago Wolves, and only 1 found the back of the net though for Toronto, as it was Easton Cowan getting his 8th of the playoffs from Dakota Mermis, and a Vinni Lettieri getting another assist. He's up to 14 and now a league leading 24 points this postseason. So when we come back, the third period, a pivotal third period in this series, the Wolves try to battle back down a goal and down 2 games in this series to try and get it to 2-1. The Marlies trying to take a 3-0 lead in this Calder Cup Final and go for a sweep on Thursday here at the Coliseum. You're listening to the 2026 Calder Cup Final with Jaric Rubel. Come back here live in 15 minutes, 5 minutes past the hour for the start of period 3. It's live right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Jaric Rubel back with you here live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. 1-0 Marlies as the third period's already underway. As immediately off the draw, the Wolves win it, but it goes out of play. A few seconds in, 7 seconds already elapsed, as it's 1-0 Marlies, courtesy the goal by Easton Cowan from Marlies and Lettieri. As Chicago here down 2-0 in the series. Needs at least 2 goals here tonight at the moment to try and get back in this thing. So face-off back at center, won by Chicago. Ronan Seeley will shoot it in around the goal to go, bouncing to the far wall, bounces to the circle where Robitaille tried to center it, came around to the left side for Nadeau. Up to the left point, Seeley. Seeley with it, played it back to the left corner. Nadeau left it, Robitaille took it, skating from low to high, drifting now, left it at the left point, skating with it now is Nystrom trying to center, couldn't connect, came back to Robitaille, backdoor Nadeau, shot it wide, came around the goal to the far wall again, Robitaille is going to leave it, Suzuki centered, bouncing puck, came in the slot, Nadeau drifting, came to the right point with it, now to the circle, dropped it, and Suzuki in the slot, shot it off a leg, came to the left side, Seeley poked it, but it came free, now Thrun's going to have a spring pass ahead for Cowan, but he put too much on it, as no breakaway will happen there, as the Wolves get it, play it right back through center, and it'll be shot into the Marlies zone as a collision happens in front of the benches between a pair of Wolves and Marlies, but now on the far side in front of the Marlie bench, the top line gets on as Grew shoots it over the Wolf line, a bouncing puck rolls in, will it go for an icing? It won't, as it's now played by Nystrom around to the near side while he took a hit, came up to center, Villeneuve grabbed it back for the Marlies, and on the near side, Shaw took it away from Unger Sorum, near corner, Shaw dropped it, Lettieri shot it, and a save made there with the blocker by Primo, to the far wall, a bouncing puck settled down, Mermis to the far wall, Grew goes to the right point, Villeneuve looking for a tip backdoor by Shaw, went to the far boards off his stick. Now on that far wing, it's chipped to center by Foot, bouncing puck left wing, it's Vierling trying to get to it, but it's out of his reach as Villeneuve's back on it. On the near side for Toronto, dropped it in the corner, Shaw in his own zone, flipped it back to center, as a bouncing puck goes over into the Wolves zone, might have the legs for icing, and it will, with 18:15 to go here in period number 3. So here in this third period, the Chicago Wolves were down 3-2 and 4-3 a game ago. They battled back with 2 goals, courtesy Juuso Välimäki to tie game 2 at 3-4, but ultimately fell short in overtime as Välimäki was on the ice for that goal against, courtesy Logan Shaw. There's now a face-off here. Shaw does not win it. The Wolves get it in the Marlies D zone. Välimäki on the left side, trying to move it along. Villeneuve took it away, played across where Grew will send it out to center, and the Marlies will get a change on following the icing. Fensori now with it for Chicago. At the red line, shot it in from the logo. Around the goal, it goes to the right wing corner. Rafai on it for the Marlies, played it behind the net. Danford can't get it. The Wolves do. On the left-hand side, Slavin's tied up. Try to pry it to Brindamore. It came free behind, though, for Pare and the Marlies. As around it goes, Rafai sends it through center. It might roll right on net, so no icing, and it does indeed go on net, so we play on. Well, back in the right wing corner, the Wolves gets it to Slavin, but he can't exactly get a clean pass to center as a leaping glove by Pare grabbed that puck back down, and on the right wing, fed Nylander back into the Wolves zone. Tried a shot that went off a skate, came back up near the blue line and out to center as Danford can't keep it in as Slavin poked it away. But the Marlies reset, right wing, pass finds Nylander, drifting into the Wolves zone, comes to the slot with the shot, and it's blocked away by Primo. Rebound to the far wall. Back in the corner, it's going to be picked back up by Brindamore as Rod the Bod's kid skates to center. Over the red line. Now the Marley Blue on the right side. Backhanded it down low beneath the Toronto cage. Unger Sorum trying to body Danford away to get to this puck, but behind the goal, Rafai will take it as he sand wedged one back the other way. At the logo, the Wolves take it back as Pavlichev got upended as he dropped it for Seeley. Meanwhile, Seeley's in trouble as Johnstone almost took it away, but behind the net, Nystrom played it back up the far wall. The Wolves take it past the benches. It'll be chipped in by Neuchev, who got clipped by Thrun. Behind the Marley net, it's picked back up by Benning. Cross it goes. Thrun on the left wing boards, goes rink wide this way for Pizzetta. Right wing over the Wolf line, skates into the circle on his backhand, driving on top of the paint. Couldn't get it on net. Gets his own puck though on the far side, put it back behind the Wolf net to the near circle. It's met by Benning. Threw it to the net, deflected in behind to the trapezoid. Throw it up the wall on the far side. Neuchev collects, drifts his way towards center, and now glides on the near wing and sends it back rink wide. Pavlichev poked it ahead over the Marley line as the Wolves are changing. Can't keep it. Johnstone took it back, sent it this way on the near wall for Benning to play it it up the right side. Over the Wolf line, Torberg will play it down low. Round to the near corner, it rolls to the trapezoid in the Wolf zone. Robidot played it up, it won't get out, kept by Mermis. Thrown to the point, Villeneuve. He'll tee one up, and it's blocked up out off the glass by Torberg there as it got the stick on the deflection. Near corner, Pare centered it on top of the paint. Couldn't get deflected home by Quillen. Is now behind the Wolf net. Cal Foot's able to poke one free, but it came to Villeneuve near side. Fed it to the far circle. Out of the wheelhouse of Torberg, who played it off the wall. To the blue line, Mermis. Long wrister gloved there by Primo as he takes a whistle again with 15:35 to go in period number 3. So the Marlies here with a lot of chances. They had 17 shots to the Wolves 4 in period number 2. As they're starting out here with a couple of good chances towards Primo. Some of them on net, some of them not, as Pizzetta had a good chance just a second ago, but couldn't get it directed on goal. As now a face-off's coming up here to the left of Caden Primo, as he watches on here with his Carolina Hurricanes headgear. The Hurricanes, congratulations to their organization again on the 2026 Stanley Cup. 1-6 games over Vegas on Sunday night. Is now Suzuki to take this draw for Chicago as he beats Logan Shaw on it for Toronto. So up the near wing, it's played by the Wolves. Left wing into the Marlies zone, it'll roll as Nadeau tried to take it away from Thrun. But the puck's up to Shaw, who fed it on the right wing for Grew out to center. Skates over the Marley logo, drifting to the left side over the Wolves line. Free at the circle, threw it on top of the paint to save Primo with the right pad against Shaw's tip. Came back around the goal. Grew tried to center for Lettieri in the slot. Taken away by Chicago. As on the near side, unable to clear for the moment was Robida. Back down behind the Wolf net, the puck will roll, but it's picked back up by Roden Seeley as he'll leave it on the far side for Fensori to poke to center. The Wolves can't get it though. The Marlies take it back courtesy Thrun, and on the right wing his pass goes off a Grew skate back near the Toronto blue line to our left as Mermis now has it on the far, or I should say Thrun has it on the far wing. He'll shoot it on in as again the Marlies going left to right in this third period. The Wolves going right to left here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum. So now a puck went off the side of the net down to our right, and Primo elects to put a glove on it to get a whistle with 14:37 to go here in regulation time. So if the Wolves were to win this game and tie this series, we'll confirm a Game 5, which would be on USM Friday night at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, if necessary, live here from Toronto, as it would be a second game of a back-to-back, as they also play Thursday. Game 4 is at 7 Eastern Thursday night right here on USM. So thank you so much for hanging out with me so far on this AHL broadcast. Again, the first time this existence of Ultimate Sports we've broadcasted the AHL, so it's nice to see a good turnout for it throughout the end here of the month of June. As now a face-off to the left of the Wolves' goal is won by the Marlies, as Nylander's going to walk around with it on the right side. He's going to come down low and throw it across, but it went off a skate wide into the far side out to center, as now the Marlies have to regroup. Villeneuve from his near side played it up the wall. Philp takes it back in the Wolves zone, got upended here by Pare. No penalty though, as it's flipped back to center. Marlies try and recollect as Mermis played it between the benches. Nylander will shoot it back in. Straight in it goes to the Wolves zone to the near corner. Back after it for the Wolves is Seeley. Poked it around to the far side. We're trying to get after it's Philp. Philp bodied here Nylander. Took it on his backhand. Played it straight ahead to Ryabkin. Ryabkin here, not a lot of ice time tonight for the Wolves. Out here now as he played it ahead for Philp. Gliding in. Right wing. Dropped it. Ryabkin right circle. Shooting into the glove of Akhtiamov, as that was a grade A chance for the Wolves as Ryabkin rolled in there at the right dot, tried to let that shot go upstairs short side, but the glove of Akhtiamov was there to stop it as the Marlies stay in front 1-0 here at the first break of period 3, as we'll step aside for 90 seconds. Back in a moment on USM. welcome back to the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto, where the Marlies still lead the Wolves 1-0 here in the third period of Game 3 of this Calder Cup Final. Marlies looking to go up 3-0 in this series and go for the sweep on Thursday. Wolves trying to stay in this thing and get it to Game 5 at the very least on Friday, but of course their sights are set on much more than just getting it to a 5th game. So we're past the 13-minute mark here, I should say the 14-minute mark here of period number 3, as the Wolves here down 1-0, looking to find a way to equalize this game, as they did so twice in the third period of Game 2, and they win an O-zone draw here in period 3 of Game 3, but Suzuki ends up losing possession as it's poked away up and on the far side of the roll. It will end up going far enough for icing, as I didn't think this was going to have the legs, but the linesman thought so the whistle ends up going with 13:35 to go here in period number 3, as Bo Grew now trickles back into his defensive zone here for this ensuing face-off, as Bo Grew had 2 goals in game number 2 of this series. Born in France, but raised in Quebec, as he was a member of the Halifax Mooseheads Memorial Cup Championship team back in 2019. It's a face-off now to the left of Akhtiamov's, won by the Marlies, and the top line throws it to center, and on the right side, Lettieri will throw it deep. Behind the Wolf net to our right it goes. Cal Foot far corner, nudged it, but it came to Grew on the left half boards. Bo Grew spinning to his forehand. Down low it goes. Cal Foot tries to get it. He's tied up with Lettieri in the far corner. Vinni Lettieri trying to jar it loose. His stick's being held onto by Foot. Now he comes loose, as behind on the far side it goes. Grew trying to stay with it. Spun it near the top of the goal, but it came free. Back it goes. Lettieri centered. Shaw can't find it. Kick to the near side and backhanded to center by Robida. Or I should say Nadeau. And on the far wing now is Robida, as he'll send it down beneath the Marley cage to the left wing side. It's chipped behind for Suzuki by Nadeau, as now Suzuki fending on his backhand. Got knocked down here twice by a Marley, as taking him down was Bo Grew. As on the near side it's played back now down low by the Marlies. I should say by the Wolves, as it's taken that back though by Benning. He put it up the near wall. The Wolves keep it again. Good O-zone pressure here by Chicago, as around the Marley went it to the far corner. Valimaki sent it to the far circle. Robida shot. Save made in a butterfly position. Akhtiamov. The Marlies get it far boards. They send it back out the center with 12:20 to go here in period number 3. Now at the near side, Fensori shoots it back in for Chicago, as around it goes to the Marley trapezoid. Danford here almost put it in his own net. It went off his own goaltender's pads, as Akhtiamov there had the 5-hole closed, as Ben Danford panicked there with the pressure on top of the goal line. It almost put it right in his own net. Danford says to his goaltender, "That's on me, I'm sorry," as that was a little bit of not trauma there, but a little bit of a scare for the rookie defenseman, as he ended up getting pressured by Dylan Gunler on the goal line, and he panicked with that puck, as he thought he was going to lose possession, and he put it right off the near pad of Artur Akhtiamov. So 12:11 to go in this third period now, as a face-off to the left of Akhtiamov is going to be played for by Johnstone and Brindamore. Is now off the draw. It's going to be played to the near side by Johnstone, who shoves Brindamore out of the way at the circle. Up the near boards, the puck chips out past center. Sims racing forward on the near wing against Fensori. Gets to it first in the near right wing corner. Johnstone setting up top of the goal. The puck played behind the trapezoid as Brindamore lost his stick, went palms up. The puck free on the far wall. The Wolves can't clear. Here's Pizzetta in the slot. Tried a shot. Missed to the glove side here of Primo. To the near side it goes for Sim. Back down low, Johnstone. Trying to shake off Gunler in behind. Has that puck tied up against the boards behind in the trapezoid, as it now kicks around off the back of the net. Came to Brindamore on the far corner, chipped it off the glass, does not get out to center. A good right skate keep by Rafai. Puck thrown to the near right wing. Here's Sim, throwing it on top of the paint for Johnstone, and his deflection went wide to the far side. Back in the trapezoid it'll go now. Fensori in that trapezoid, getting the puck free from a stray stick, as now he waits behind his own net as both teams make changes, with 11:15 remaining here in the third period. Still 1-0 Toronto. Toronto. Jaric Rubel, glad you're with me on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Is out at the logo. Seeley played it up ahead on the left wing. It'll be thrown deep by Pavlichev. And behind the goal, here's Akhtiyamov for the Marlies. Played it up, not out. Back it goes in the slot. Now out to center it'll go thanks to Villeneuve. As now at that logo, it's taken back by Neuchev. Neuchev right wing. Can't get past Mermis. As Mermis left it in behind for Villeneuve now. Villeneuve back to Mermis. Threw it up the left wing. Past the red line. It rolls it into the Wolves zone. Going after it's Pavlichev with his big frame behind the goal. Threw it around to the near side. Seeley with it. Played it now from his backhand to his forehand and behind the net to the far side for Legault. Legault shot it up. Tipped it at the red line by Pavlichev to the Marlies zone. As behind the goal to pick it up now is Villeneuve. Villeneuve up the near right wing. Trying to connect with Quillen. Could not. But now the Wolves take back over. Nystrom on the near side with 10:20 to go in the third. Back up the left wing. Suzuki shot it into the right wing corner. After it's Cal Foot. He'll get there first for the Wolves. Whacked it around to the near left side again. Suzuki from the half boards. Chipped it up Nystrom. Faked a slap shot. Drifts his way to the right circle. Shooting one and it got blocked. And where is it? It's in the glove of Akhtiyamov as he wasn't sure at first. But with a stand-up save, gets it in his catching glove. And a whistle with 10:06 to go in the third. Fans starting to bow down now here to Akhtiyamov in the Coca-Cola Coliseum. As a fan here with a Maple Leaf sweater on with a white towel, the rally towel underneath his Toronto baseball cap, starts bowing down towards Akhtiyamov after the whistle. But a heck of a try by Nystrom. So he faked the slap shot in the slot and worked his way to the right circle with a good try, but unable to beat the Russian netminder Artur Akhtiyamov. No face-off back to Akhtiyamov's left, down to our left, won by the Marlies, played up the near wall by Danford, and out the center it goes over the logo, it's picked up Hames, tried a shot, got his stick slashed, and a penalty's coming up here on the Wolves, as the Marlies here, when we come back, will head to the power play, as Cal Foot will take a seat for Chicago, as the Marlies still lead at 1-0 at the halfway point of period number 3. You're listening to game number 3 of the 2026 Calder Cup Final, and it's live right here on USM. Back here in Toronto as the Marlies are going to go on the power play for the second time tonight, as Luke Hames got his stick slashed, as it was Ryan Suzuki, not Cal Foot, who broke the lumber. As now Marlies to the man advantage. Face off here down to her right in the near circle. It'll be won back by the Wolves, but behind the goal to get to it first is Grew. He tried to get it, played it up to the far point. Lettieri kept it. Tried a shot, blocked by Seeley, came to the far wall, played back by Grew to Lettieri, and along the left boards, back it goes to Shaw. The captain played it to Lettieri, back around behind the Wolf net. Grew's on it, backhanded it back to Lettieri. Can't keep it in as it rolls out to center. And now hustling backs Villeneuve to play it. Now the Marley defenseman back to our left behind his own net. Starts to drift on the far wall, and he'll leave it for Bo Grew now. As the Marlies break out the center, grew over the red line, drifts to the right side, got it over the Wolf Blue, played it himself from the circle around the goal to the left side. Now an interference penalty should be coming up. It will be as Lettieri just wiped Brindamore out of the play. And that's a good call by the officials. As now a lookout, the Wolves gave him a little cross check on the way by. Don't want to give yourself another penalty, but Lettieri's going to get called for interference. And now for 79 seconds, we will go to 4 skaters aside. So we'll get that all set up here for the next minute 19 on your screen. So we'll go 4-on-4 here in this third period. Wolves will get a little bit of power play time after for 41 seconds as they'll look to tie this game at 1 goal apiece. So official Liam Maskett with the call as Lettieri wanted to get an embellishment minor issued out as well, and the fans as well didn't love it, but there he goes to the penalty box as the leading scorer for the AHL these playoffs sits for 2 minutes. And now 4-on-4 hockey's played for the second time tonight. Face off in the far quarter to the left of the goaltender Akhtiamov. Philps able to beat Quillen clean on the draw, and on the far wall, Fensori leaves it nicely along that right wing. It's going to be centered on top of the paint by Nystrom, but unable to tip it home is Gunler. Behind in the left corner, it's thrown down low to Gunler in the trapezoid. Gunler lost it. Rafai trying to take it, tied up with Philp is in that left wing quarter down to our left. The puck's free in the trapezoid. Rafai trying to take it. Got knocked down to his knees. Still pried under his left skate down low as it came free. Nystrom, he's tied up on that far board as now it's poked off his stick and bouncing still trapped under his skate on that far wing as now it's played out across by Quillen and the Marlies as now a down and outer pass on the left wing stays onside. Quillen's going to grab it left circle driving and he got in too deep and crashed hard into the end boards as he and Fensori are tied up. Puck behind the fallen body of Quillen as it lodges free. Gru's going to try and grab it. Right wing corner. Played it up now to the right point. Murmis walking the line with it. Flung it near the net. Deflected wide in behind. Grabbed back again by Toronto. Bo Gru near corner. Played it up to the blue line. Deflected out the center. As now the Leafs, or I should say the Marlies have to reset. 10 seconds left. 4-on-4. Back up the right wing. A pass finds Gru into the Wolves zone, but he's bodied off the puck by Valimaki. It's now out of the box comes Ryan Suzuki in 2 seconds to the power play. For 41 seconds go the Chicago Wolves. So now on the near side, back into the zone they come. Nadeau put it in the slot. Here's Robidoux, dished it for the far circle. Played back to the point by Philp. Here's a big shot. Suzuki blocked in front by Murmis. That stung him as it hit him in the right leg. And the Marlies do get it clear. And Murmis is able to skate off under his own power in some distress. 20 seconds left on this Wolf power play. Back through center they come. Robidoux drifting over the Marley line to the left wing boards Nadeau. Back to the left corner. Robidoux looking over the traffic. Goes behind to the near side. Suzuki gave it back to Robidoux left half boards. Up top now, Nadeau straight away to the left circle. Robidoux drifting with it, spinning to his backhand. Now on his forehand, tries a shot, glove side. Save made by Akhtiamov. Rebound cleared up, and now out of the box comes Lettieri. On the right-hand side, he gets after that puck in the Wolves zone in the corner. In that corner, spun it in front, trying to center for Shaw. Robidoux was there to knock it away for Chicago, and he's able to take it and go up the far wing. He gets to the red line. He'll chip it for Suzuki. Suzuki, right wing side. Ugly collision with Thrun on the far side as both fall down on their knees, but back on the puck is Benning for Toronto as he sand wedges it back to center, trying to take it away. Nylander over the Wolf line. He did enough to knock it deep, but Philp played it right back up at the logo at center. Taken back by Rafai for Toronto, chipped it into the near right wing corner as the Marlies change. Hames on it first, tried to pool cue it around for Nylander, couldn't quite grab the puck. Still in that trapezoid, picked up by Hames to the right circle. He'll skate down to our right. From low to high, he'll backhand it back down low. Taken by Pizzetta, and in that corner, he'll try and leave it, and it'll be taken by Sims successfully. Down behind the goal, trying to grab it for Chicago was Legault on the right side. He backhanded it up safely on the near wall, and Gunler past center, got it into the left corner. Here's Brindamore centering. Here's a shot out of midair by Philp, shut down by the blocker of Akhtiamov, and the crowd loves that as they rise to their feet in the lower bowl and applaud this Marley netminder. So what a try by Noah Philp as he had the connection on that baseball swing style shot as he let that go from on top of the blue paint, but couldn't beat the Marley netminder as it looks like Akhtiamov's going to the bench. Not sure why, perhaps, as I don't think we're going to a commercial break. But Philp with that try on top of the paint. Baseball swung at it right down off the blocker. It went. And then Akhtiamov was able to cover. So it looks like he's back in his blue paint. We're ready to continue playing. Top line on the ice for the Marlies as they'll be opposed by the line of Ryabkin, Vierling, and Neuchev or Pavlichev, I should say, for the Wolves. And on the far side, it'll be flipped out off a face-off win by the Marlies. Bouncing puck over the Wolf line. Won't go for an icing as Nystrom plays it behind with Lettieri's pressure behind him. All right, trying to poke it free for the Marlies. Lettieri got it up the near boards. Grew trying to keep it. Can't. Vierling has it left side as he'll get as far as the red line. Turned right back around those. The puck's taken by Chicago's Cal Foote in his own zone to our right. 5:43 to go. Third period of play, 1-0 Toronto in game number 3, Calder Cup Final. Jaric Rubel with you on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Marlies looking to take a 3-0 lead in the final. Wolves trying to get back in the series as through center, left to right come the Marlies. On the left circle, Cowan, the goal scorer tonight, drifts in behind the Wolf net to the right side. Up near the slot, he'll let a shot go, blocked out in front. Rebound couldn't be poked home by Lettieri. On the far side, trying to steer it ahead is Vierling for Chicago. Came up the wall, but not very far as Lettieri will knife it right back down. Around the Wolf net it goes and up the near side. Slavin tries to get it, won't get it out. Cowan sent it across on the far circle. Torberg fresh on, pivoting on his forehand against Valimaki. To the blue line it goes Thrun. Thrun on the left side, going back down low with it. Torberg can't grab it. It goes around the Wolf net to the near wall again as Slavin has it, steered it ahead to center as far as the logo. Thrun's back on it for Toronto. On the right side, he'll backhand it as far as the Wolf blue line. Fensori took back over, went across for Valimaki, who played it through center, and at the Marley blue line it's tapped in by Brindamore. Now behind the Marley goal line to our left. Thrun's just hit hard there by Pavlichev. His helmet's knocked off. He's down and in pain on the ice. As we'll see if a penalty's coming up here, as that could be a collarbone if Thrun didn't get the worst of that. As he was drilled, and it was Pavlichev, with that hit, as he drilled Henry Thrun in the far corner. And it looks like penalties are being issued out here. Pizzetta, with ugly intent in his eyes, is screaming at Pavlichev, as Pizzetta himself is a tough customer. And Pavlichev is going to be... Oops, wrong button. Chicago did not score. But it'll be Pavlichev getting guided off here for the Wolves, as we'll step aside one last time here tonight as the Marlies, when we return, will get a power play, as it was a hit to the head as the shoulder of Pavlichev hit the right ear of Henry Thrun, and they called the hit up high. And when we return, Marlies back to the man advantage. Back here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum, where the Marlies are set to go on the power play here within the final 5 minutes of period 3, up 1-0, looking to take a 3-0 Calder Cup Final lead after Henry Thrun was destroyed in the far corner with a heavy hit to the head by Pavlichev for Chicago, as he was guided down the tunnel, and it looks like he might have just been given a game misconduct as he now sits. And I think I'm gonna have to up this power play time here to 5 minutes. So a big moment here in this series, as the Wolves here at the end of game 3 have put themselves in a big old hole. Down a man for the remainder of regulation time. Do they have a 2010 Chicago Blackhawks moment in them? And see if Pavlichev, if they could tie it shorthanded, could somehow get an overtime winner a la Marian Hossa 16 years ago. So as head coach Spiros Anastas getting an explanation here from the officiating staff for the Chicago Wolves as he gets explained everything that's going on, and it looks like John Gruden as well for the Marlies, their head coach, being explained what's going on here in this one. As we'll see exactly if it is 5 minutes, as I would only guess it will be, as there's only 4 Wolves on the ice to the 5 Marlies. Thought maybe with the explanation to the Marlies head coach that maybe it wouldn't be that, but it indeed should be 5 minutes. 5 minutes major issued out here to Pavlichev for Chicago. So Brindamore against Shaw for this faceoff. We're in the late stages of game number 3, period number 3, as now the Wolves here trying to do some sort of magical work to tie this game at 1, shorthanded the rest of regulation, as it's 5 minutes on the clock with just over 4.5 minutes to go in regulation for this Marley power play. And on the far wall, here's Vinni Lettieri looking over the traffic, down low, Shaw, backhander that was directed towards Primo, but he takes it for a whistle, so he's able to gobble that up under his right-handed blocker. So a face-off coming back up to his right now, as the Wolves are going to have to try and figure something out shorthanded here, as at any point in this third period, they will not have an opportunity to go 6-on-5. It'll be 5-on-5 at the most with the extra attacker. So they're in a very tough predicament here in this third game. Face-off in the far quarter to our right of the goaltender Caden Primo. And it'll be done over again as Bo Grew's unable to win that draw against the Wolves' Gunler. As now it looks like Shaw might have to step in. He will for the Marlies. As now long pause here by the linesman. And finally, we drop the puck. Shaw wins it clean. To the left point, it goes for Mermis. Slid it to the right side. Villanov up top to the right circle. Grew touched it down low. Right corner. Shaw rugged around to the left corner for Lettieri. Up to the left point it goes. Slid this way from Mermis to Villanov. To the right circle, Grew. Touched it to the right wing corner. Trying to play its Cal foot. Squirted it free to Nadeau. And Nadeau trying to play it up, but it won't get out. Lettieri backhanded in the slot. Shaw drifting with it to the far left wing boards. Left it at the point Mermis. Mermis played it towards the blue paint. It deflected off the side of the net. In behind it goes to the far corner. And now Grew with it. Dropped it behind Lettieri. Shoveled it around on his backhand to the right point for Villanov. Villanov to the right corner. Lettieri touched it. Left circle. Now it's Grew. Back up to the left point. Mermis. Mermis a shot. Flubbed to the near corner off a stick. Now on that near side, Lettieri's getting boxed out. The Wolves will get it. And they'll get their first clear of this major penalty kill. So 3.5 left in the third, more than that to go on the Marley power play, as now they still have control behind their own net. Dakota Mermis for William Villeneuve, as a little bit of pressure from Philp forced him ahead, and up through the center ice position comes Easton Cowan, the lone goal scorer tonight. Shot one off the end boards, went after it himself, couldn't grab it. Philp got it for Chicago, and on the right wing, Unger Sorum got it out to the logo, and Philp will carry it in to the far circle. He nudged it, trying to toe drag in was Unger Sorum, but it was blown dead for it offsides, as the Wolf winger shakes his head there in disappointment, as another whistle with 3:03 remaining in this third period. So a face-off will come back in front of the benches in neutral ice, as head coach Spiros Anastas has a look here on the Wolves bench of a little bit of doom and gloom, as he has that look in his eye as he just can't figure out what he could possibly do to get his team to tie this game at 1. Then after that, you're going to be staring down the barrel of a 3-0 series deficit. A face-off in neutral ice, pulled back by Philp. The Wolves get it on the right side, there into the zone. Under 3 minutes to go, down 1, and down a man shorthanded. Around the goal, it's played to the left side. Philp up high. Made a man miss, that's Nylander. Dropped it in the slot, return past Philp. Left circle on his backhand, down low behind the net. Threw it in front, a shot by Gunler. Save made Aktiamov. He got a glove on the rebound, as that was a brilliant scoring chance here by the Wolves shorthanded to try and tie this game, but unable to find the back of the net. There was Unger Sorum, my apologies, not Gunler. That was 14, not 10. That's a good job by Aktiamov on top of the paint there. Well, not on top of the paint, but more turtle deep in his net to make sure that puck did not leak past him. So an ozone draw here for the Wolves, short-handed, of course, on that major penalty, as you could see above my head here. But Johnstone wins the draw clean in his defensive zone for Toronto. So Villeneuve with it behind his own net, in no hurry to play this, with 2:33 to go in the third. He's just standing in the trapezoid. Robida, I think, should press him if he's a Wolf, if he wants to do the right thing for the Wolves, as Villeneuve does not want to move this puck along, as he really has no reason to as well. Now Robida comes behind. The Leafs set, or I should say the Marlies set a pick play, and Robida can't grab it. It's fed up the far wall. Johnstone has it left wing. He's going to just rag with it now back out the center, as I feel like I'm watching an NHL video game here, as with a 1-goal lead, the team in front is just ragging it around in their defensive zone. I'm not necessarily a fan of this style of hockey, but that's what's going on, as now Danford's being pressed by Nadeau to get out to center for Toronto. He does, and now through neutral ice, here comes Shaw drifting with it over the Wolf line left side. From the corner, played it up to the blue line, unable to keep it in was Bogru, as now the Marlies resets in his own zone. Now under 100 seconds to go in regulation time. Wolves get possession back. It's backhanded to the Marlies zone, but thrown back to center by Rafai. Lettieri takes it, steered it ahead, out of the reach of Shaw. And will this go for an icing? It won't, as around the goal it's played up the near side, turned over. Marlies have it in the slot. Shaw, backhander that missed to the blocker side of Primo. Behind Lettieri, centered it, Grew. Can't find it, came up to the right point. Betting for Grew, right circle. Got tied up by Valimaki. Puck came free to the Wolves, as it's lifted out to center now. In the final 70 tonight. 1-0 Marlies. Wolves can't get possession as they're short-handed, as back into the zone comes Johnstone for Toronto. Got stood up, but Wolves can't get it out of the zone, as it's rug around the Chicago net now in the final minute of game number 3. Wolves trying to get a puck out to center. Brindamore did, but it's still in possession of Toronto, as on the near side with 50 to go. Benning played it up the wall. Will it go into the zone for an icing? It will not, as it was deflected. But the Wolves get possession. Keep an eye here on the goaltender, Primo. He's going to head to the bench. 5-on-5 will go now, as the extra attacker's on, but now a puck's turned over on the far wall by the Wolves in the final half minute. Behind the Marley net, Benning threw it up the near wall. It gets out the center. The net empty for the Wolves as Quillen gets stood up. Wolves touch it back up in their own zone with 23 left. Unger Sorum up the left wing. Wolves shorthanded. Suzuki can't tip it into the zone. They're going to get blown dead for an icing here, as that doesn't make sense to me unless the AHL's different, as it still should be shorthanded rules here for the Wolves, as I don't understand that whistle. If somebody in the comments could perhaps explain that to me, but the Wolves are technically shorthanded here, and despite the goaltender being off, it's still technically a power play for Toronto. As now it looks like after wrongfully blowing the whistle, the faceoff is going to come out to center ice here at the logo. And now with 18.6 seconds left, the Wolves are going to use their timeout. And now assistant coach Dan Price will go to the whiteboard here on the bench, as now they're going to have to work through neutral ice as well. The Wolves will, to try and get in short-handed, technically even strength, as again, it's a power play for Toronto with the major penalty, but the Wolves have their net empty, so they get the extra attacker back on, so it goes back to 5 skaters aside. I'm just still kind of shook that the linesman blew the whistle here on the latest play, as that should not have been icing whatsoever, but that was the call that was made. And now the faceoff will happen here at the logo at center. So the timeout's gone by the wayside. We'll see if Primo gets back in his blue paint at least halfway near the hash marks at all, as it looks like just 5 Wolves are on the ice from my vantage point at the moment on the TV camera, as the fans start to rise to their feet here in Toronto. It is indeed the goaltender back in his net for Chicago. As off the draw, the Wolves are able to get it almost too cleanly, as now back on it is Fensori is now on the near side. They're going to dump it back in. Is it going to go for an icing? They won't. Final 10 seconds in the near quarter. The Wolves try to get it. Fans here on their feet in Toronto. Down to the final 3. The puck's free to the point. Shot went off the end boards. It went wide, and the Marlies win this game 1-0 and lead this Calder Cup Final 3-0. As now after the fact here, we got a little bit of a melee breaking out in the Marlies defensive zone, as Suzuki's got a man, Grew's got a man, Betting's here down on the ice, scraping here with Unger Sorum. But through it all, the Toronto Marlies with a 3-0 series lead. The Wolves' frustration starting to show here as Robita's getting dragged like a dog on the ice by Matt Benning by his collar. As now both these teams here start to realize that cooler heads need to prevail, but now Valimaki's going to get tied up with Vinni Lettieri. And now Lettieri has him in a bit of a guillotine headlock here on top of the blue paint in the Marlies zone to our left. But now it looks like the linesmen have started to get control of this as Lettieri's still chirping as he gets his league-leading 24th point of the playoffs with the assist on the game-winning goal, the only goal of the game, belonging to Easton Cowan, his 8th of the playoffs. Assisting on that, Dakota Mermis and, as I mentioned, Vinni Lettieri, as the Marlies only needed one to win tonight, as it was a shutout pitched in net by Artur Akhtiamov, as in that blue paint for Toronto. He stopped all 24 Wolf shots that were thrown his way. And in the blue paint, he comes up big for this Toronto team that's one win away from a Calder Cup championship. Game 4 of this series will be on the air on USM Thursday night at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, as the Marlies have a shot to close it out on home ice and win their first championship since 2018. So, a final again here tonight. The Marlies won, the Wolves none, as this has been a presentation of the 2026 Calder Cup Final with Jaric Rubel. It's been live right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Head on over to Matthew Owen's stream. He's got Argentina and Algeria in the World Cup going on right now. He would love to hear from you. I'll speak to you Thursday from this very building in Toronto for Game 4 of the Calder Cup Final, Marlies Wolves, right here on USM.